Mate, I think mullet was the word you were looking for.
Yeah. As we continue to have technical errors here. Oh, my goodness. No. Not much we can do here, unfortunately, mate, as we look to persevere. Nice offload there from the Raiders. Sees their fullback, Adam Cook, make a nice break through the middle. That was a quality offload there. Late is always dangerous. Right now, as they play from their halfback, who is... Goodness, I'll get there eventually. Sorry, guys, we are once again having technical difficulties. But yes, their halfback, Brad Schneider, with a nice little dart there. Hayes Perham cleans up, and it probably could have got a 6 again there. That was a very slow play of the ball if the defenders entangled with their hands around the ball. Not forthcoming for the Parramatta Eels, though, and they'll continue to work it out from their end zone as Lalato Mata'afa and then Ellie Elsgaham get the early carries. Really good carry there from Ellie there, mate. Fighting through the defenders, getting a good play of the ball. Right as Rankin plays the first receiver, turns the ball back inside to Makahesi Makatoa, who's met by 3 defenders. Great post-contact meters there by Makatoa. Takes the ball out past Parramatta's 40-metre mark as the vocal home crowd there. The tackle is made on halfway, bring up the last. Rankin will clear the ball. Looks for an awkward midfield torpedo bomb. Doesn't travel very far, and the Raiders let it bounce. Batted back by Mata'afa. There is a messy contest of the ball before it gets back to Joey Lussick, who drives it down, fielded by Adam Cook on his goal line. That's a pretty good second kick, mate.
Mate, it's a better outcome than it looked like it was going to be as the Raiders are tackled just on their 20-metre line.
That's it, and wait for the ball to come into vision, as it does now. Raiders working it out through their outside backs, I'm not mistaken. Trying to figure out who is who from this vantage point, obviously, as the wind kicks up behind us and gets into our microphones. There's number 13, which is Darby Medlin for strong carry, wrapped up by Wiramu Greg, Makatoa, and Joey Lussick by the looks of it. Left as Severely plays it from dummy half, scoops it up and finds his number 14 that might be there, which would be Adrian Trevelyan. As the Raiders continue to work left, Frawley at first receiver, nice short ball. That is a great little angled run over his line there from the left edge back roll for the Raiders, which is Kai O'Donnell. Bit of a sloppy pass there, immense pressure as Rankin gets in his face. He heaves the bomb upfield towards Sean Russell, takes it cleanly and nearly splits the defenders on the kick chase, mate.
Mate, it was a good catch given the conditions there because that wind was playing havoc with the ball.
Coming from the clubhouse end.
It looked like it was heading about somewhere past the 10-metre line and ended up dropping about 15 metres out. So Russell did very well judging that kick.
As the Eels continue to drive it downfield or upfield, depending on where you're standing, I suppose. Rankin at dummy half finds Makatoa for short ball, and big front rower takes another solid carry, as he is wont to do. That's very much his calling card. Lussick at dummy half now, so it looks like there might have been a pre-game reshuffle because I'm seeing no Nathaniel Roach out there, mate. Lussick slotting in at dummy half, and makes me wonder who's at 5/8 then. As Makatoa gets his second carry of the Cedars into Canberra's side of halfway. Rankin will go up high, end over end bombs. He sends it towards Adam Cook centre field, 10 metres out from the goal line, takes it cleanly, and will meet the kick chase led by Kai Rodwell.
Mate, the game so far has been played between the quarter lines, as most games of rugby league are, but this has really been restricted there because there just hasn't been, I can't recall any play the balls yet in either of the quarter lines for either team. And as you say, there's definitely been some sort of shuffle up. The updated team list that we had from the New South Wales Rugby League did not include these changes, so you'll have to bear with us. We've got number these changes, so you'll have to bear with us. We've got number 19 out on the wing for the Eels, and I don't have him listed on that team list. As we see Lussick he's racing away, brought down by the Raiders right on the quarter line.
And he'll be tackled about 12 metres out from the line there, playing right now as that's Lorenzo Mata'afa, first receiver. Numbers for the right to the Eels, they go to that number 19, who, if we can just get a quick confirmation, is I'm still not sure who number 19 is. My apologies. Back left now is Elskerham. Centres the ball, beats the first player and couldn't get the offload out. 6 again, call coming towards the Parramatta Eels. Makatoa back towards the post, beats the first defender, comes to 3 more in front of the post and is tackled about 6 metres short. Now with Lussick at dummy half once again, finding Big Wiramu Greg on the crash line. Well tackled though, short of the line. Raiders holding out initially in this set at the very least. To the right now as Makatoa takes another carry. Big man getting through an absolute mountain of work here. He is pulled down. Lussick at dummy half will bullet a long ball out to Jordan Rankin, who summed up a beautiful Harbour Bridge pass out to Sean Russell that left everyone just sort of grasping a thin air, but not Russell, who takes it cleanly and centres the ball for the opening points.
And how easily was he allowed to take the ball from the corner post where he was crossing the line and bring it around behind the post? All of those Raiders players.
Coach killer right there, mate. Allowing the absolute knockover sort of spot from a difficult initial spotting is one that on the film review I think they're going to be pretty upset about.
Behind the post, he literally jogged around behind the post with the entire Raiders team just watching him dawdle around behind the post. So instead of a kick from the corner, you've got a kick from in front of the post for Rankin. So in just a moment, we'll have the score line increasing from 4-0 to 6-0 in favour of the Eels over around 28 minutes by the time the kick's taken.
Yeah, we'll mark Sean Russell down for a try in the 11th minute with the conversion to come in about the 12th or 13th, depending on how long he wants to take with that preparation.
Well, mate, it's that really was a play that came against a run of play because you had that drop ball, you had Lussick picking it up, and that brought about the first tackles that we've seen in either team's quarter line in their red zone, and it mattered. And to who was the delivered the pass there? Was it
was
Rankin? Oh
Rankin
yeah,
with
just an amazing cutout pass. Probably went and just caught all of the Raiders players a little bit short. And as I said, full marks to the Eels, who in their first venture down into the Raiders' quarter line were able to convert that opportunity that came their way. So we've got the Eels 6, the Raiders 0. The Raiders coming up to kick off, as I said, with just over 27 minutes of play remaining in the first half.
So trying to make sense of these changes, I believe it's Lalato Mata'afa who's playing at 5'8", which is why he was in field earlier. We've still got to try and figure out who the right winger is now. He takes number 19, the unknown player, scoops up the kick and finds Makatoa to start the Eels in their next set. Lussick plays left to Wiramu Greg. Bit of a cutout pass there as number 10 steams into the line. Takes 3 Raiders to try and get him down. He's fighting his way up towards the 30-metre mark. Strong carry there from the big man. Lussick appealing for a 6 again there, as hookers will want to do. Rodwell plays at first receiver to Jordan Rankin, who finds Ellie Osgaham, beats the first man and comes back at him. That was Matt Frawley, who is beaten but then comes back for that ineffective tackle. Eels will play the ball as Lussick turns it to Kai Rodwell. This time he shapes up to carry the ball and carries it strong for a great offload to Makasi Makatoa. The big man split through the front line, and is pulled down 10 metres into the Raiders' half as Hayes Perham jumps to dummy half and gets the ball out to Rankin, who rolls it ahead and is met with a strong kick chase follow-up there as poor Adam Cook gets bowled on about 9 metres out from his line.
Mate, super impressed with Rodwell's involvements there. First time involvement in that set of 6. He provided a link roll. He just turned the back and passed as soon as he received it. Second time, he's taken the line on, pushed through and brought the great offload.
Heavily playing 2 wide out to Matt Frawley, who shapes to his left but then takes on the line, choosing to tuck the ball and run in this instance. Now right for the Raiders. Good run there. Is that number... Apologies, as we have, once again, the odd vantage point here for the visitors. Not ability to see their jersey numbers. Number might be Darby meddling there. Clearing kick comes from inside the 40, but it is not a threat of finding the sideline as Hayes Perham takes it on the full about 20 metres in from field and sorties out towards Parramatta's 28-metre mark where he is met by the kick chase.
So, mate, it's an interesting move of to the hubs for the Eels winger, and he's got a background with the Bulldogs playing fullback.
Correct.
As
so
well.
Has some knack for ball playing as the Eels will come towards 10 metres short halfway by courtesy of number 19, who we're still trying to figure out who it is. Our apologies. Left now as Lussick finds Makatoa, the big man getting through more and more work. Good drive through the post contact there. As the Eels set up towards their left, it looks like this time, yeah. Oh no, coming back towards the right. as Lussick dummies to left and then finds Rodwell short on the right side of the rock, bringing up the last with the Eels kicking just past midfield into Harrier. There we go. So we've got Harrison O'Toole apparently as wing for the Raiders drops the Rankin bomb, and the Eels will set up shop about 15 metres in, depending whether they want to line up that scrum, mate. Huge opportunity to go back-to-back, well, not back-to-back, but consecutive scores.
Well, how about because
obviously the Jordan Rankin. I was thinking of Joey Lussick, not Jordan Rankin. The Lussick scoop and run that set up the Eels
so far that have been played between, and now the Raiders are in the quarter.
Rankin breaks to the right at first receiver, turns a runner inside who I can't quite see from my point. So apologies as I wait for the ball to get by. And he's been a blog and livecast favourite, hasn't he, mate?
Mate, we sang his praises in the lover I am of the hit and spin, bit of old-time rugby league skill in the props, and just then he's followed up the great link plays that he had, the offloads to support with charging onto the ball close to the post, brought up the try, and the Eels have indeed made the Raiders pay for their second error in possession in that case, in that most recent case, failing to catch the downfield kick from the Eels. It's close to the post. In all likelihood, we're about to get a 12-0 scoreline with just over 22 minutes of the first half remaining.
So just to confirm, Kai Rodwell, the scorer for the Parramatta Eels. I'm going to mark that one down for about the 17th minute as Jordan Rankin steadies himself, ready to approach the ball. He indeed strikes it sweetly, raising the flags and taking the Eels out to a 12-0 lead.
Mate, which way do you reckon this wind is blowing?
I thought it was coming over our left shoulders, but it's honestly swelling back towards us now, so I'm not really sure where it is coming from.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out if it is favouring one team or the other. Just looking at the flags on top of the posts, it could be favouring the Raiders. It's a slight crossfield kick, maybe coming from the southwest to northeast.
As a nasty little torpedo kickoff from the Raiders comes there, and is that Mata'afa trying to pick it up on the dive and he can't get it? Yeah, so Mata'afa there will drop the ball. That was an ugly kickoff, and I'm not surprised you dropped that one, mate.
Yeah, unfortunately, there wasn't a single Eels player just then who could get themselves under the ball, and you had both players. Well, there were two players that actually attempted to get it, and neither of them were successful. The ball's knocked on, and after the Raiders invited the Eels to have a little bit of time in their quarter, it's now the favour repaid by Parramatta as this ball is about to be fed into the scrum, probably about 11 metres out from the Eels' line, right in front of the posts.
As we continue to have connection errors, unfortunately, not much we can do. Dummy and go from Brad Schneider, but he is cut down. It looks like Makatoa, the saviour there, getting him by the ankles and preventing a breach of the line. Right now to Darby Medling, who was pulled down a metre, if that, short of a line. Options either side for the Raiders. They play to their right. Frawley on a little block play there. Dummy's to his right and takes on the line, but he is met strongly by Lussick and Greg. I think might be Charbel Tassapali in there as well. As Canberra have a slow play, the ball coming left. Havili's ball pass will hit the ground. Scooped up by their fullback, Adam Cook, it looks like, who was once again met strongly. Looks like Rankin and Elsgaham, the men making the tackle there. Right.
Bringing you the majority of this call. As I said, stick with us, and as we see Lussick kicking downfield deep into the Raiders quarter.
As the fullback Adam Cook salvages the ball and it is met fourth tackle on halfway. The Raiders will have a chance to take a foray into the Eels half before clearing the ball. Early ball to the left edge as the left edge back rower Kai O'Donnell beats Hayes Perham at the fine line, but the cover defence, including...
How did they not score? It was literally 5 or 6 on 2.
As Adam Cook runs it down the left edge short side on the last, finds the man who played the ball. The man at dummy half, and that will be a turnover on tackles.
Mate, you'd go a long way to see a bigger butchered try than that one. in all seriousness, if you could picture, the Raiders player breaks through. He's got the fullback in front of him. He's got the Eels centre in Will Penasini struggling to run them down, and he takes the fullback on himself.
As Will Penasini gets involved with a nice clearing carry through the middle. Parramatta Eels looking to just rock this one out and clear it, I dare say, this set. Kai Rodwell taking the ball up over the 30-metre mark, carrying a couple of defenders up there, trying to free the arms for an offload, but it's not coming. As the Eels play right to Kurt Dillon, who plays one wide to Jordan Rankin, who then turns Elsgaham back inside. Strong carry from the back row gets the Eels just shy of halfway. They do have a tackle to spare in this set, as Lussick finds Rankin, who continues to work left field, with Makatoa taking the short ball to take the Eels into the Raiders' half and set up that clearing kick. As Perrin goes to Rankin, who drives in a low kick looking for the sideline, and I believe he will find it, and he does. And that's probably going to get marked about 12, 13 metres off the goal line for the Raiders.
Mate, I still can't get over that bomb try from the Raiders. The Eels absolutely dodged a bullet there. Yeah, when you've got 5 or 6 players looming up in support and you've only got the fullback in front of you, if the try doesn't eventuate, you've got some problems.
I don't think I got no internet.
0.
Yeah. Look at that. I don't know if we're getting metered. We might be getting metered here.
What do you mean by the climb?
Yeah, like they get capped. So I'm just going to turn it on and off.
Ring him?
Yeah, perhaps. And we're back as the Raiders do get a relieving penalty to take them over halfway and look to set up for an attacking set. Playing right as Havili uses one of his forwards, getting him back behind the ruck where he is met by Rodwell and Makatoa strongly. Left now, Frawley playing at first receiver, out to Adam Cook, but the ball hits the deck, forcing the centre. That might be Moakiola. Yes, Brigham Moakiola to scoop it up the ground and head back in field and take the tackle. As the Raiders work to their right, Frawley at first receiver, turning his forward back inside. Elsgaham and Makatoa making the tackle to bring up the last. As the Raiders play left, Frawley, first receiver, stabs in a kick. That's too heavy off the boot, is it? Oh, that's a close contest. He's dived for the ball. The referee is looking at his options here, looking to see what the touch is saying, and they're going to award the try. That looked heavy off the boot, but the great chase from the left centre, which would be Brigham Moakiola, has set up the Raiders to get him on the board, mate.
Mate, I was just about to jump in with thought that the Raiders, when they're coming to their left, there seems to be a breakdown in communication. But in that instance, Frawley went to the line, grubbed it through. As you said, it initially looked like it was a bit heavy off the boot, but the great chase there was able to ground the ball probably millimetres inside the dead ball line and kick in difficult conditions. He's actually maybe got that wind coming directly behind him, Sangle.
Yeah, so mark that one down. 26-minute Brigham Moakiola scoring for the Canberra Raiders. Brad Schneider setting up that kick about 10 metres in field, maybe 9.5 on the left sideline. It looks like Nathaniel Roach is getting ready to come into this game. So he'll be the second substitution for the Parramatta Eels, looking at that card that he's got in his... Oh, strong run. Strong run met by a strong tackle, or would-be tackle, as he bumps through it. Gets out to about the 15-metre marks for a good first hit up for the Raiders, as the Eels' left edge defence gets to work. It looks like Kurt Dillon leading the charge there alongside Charbel Tasapawi. Canberra do centre the ball on their third tackle now. As the Eels get back, looks like they're all onside here, but the play of the ball is slow. No penalty coming there, thankfully. Raiders just been no nonsense this set, mate. Bit of black and white, black and gold stuff, depending on what your home brand choice of no frills shopping is. As they drive it down to the sideline, and that one would be from outside the 40, I believe. As Hayes Perham watches it go over the sideline. How's the referee going to play this one? Yes, Parramatta ball. So just over the 40-metre mark there, and Parham obviously aware of his surroundings there, not trying to rush over to the sideline and contest that one.
Well, mate, the Raiders winger was certainly making some impressive ground chasing that kick. So if it hadn't gone into touch, it might have been an interesting contest.
He wasn't far off it. That would be the number 5, which would be Xavier Savage. Sorry, no, number 2, my apologies, which is Menezi Kaho. Savage is on the side closest to us. As Penasini and Roach get the Eels on the way. Roach jumping out of dummy half there. Frawley making the tackle on the utility bench player for the Eels. Kurt Dillon steaming into the line. He's cut down strongly. That's a really good tackle there by Havili and number 17, which is former Eel Trey Mooney, actually, 60s. Makatoa again with another quality carry. He's just bringing defenders with him whenever he gets the ball under his arm, mate.
And it seems like Lussick is almost playing in a halves position. He's going first receiver on the right side of the ruck at the moment. As
Rankin clears the ball on the last completed set for the Eels, end over end bomb towards that right winger Kaho, who takes the ball falling backwards quite neatly, to be honest. As Adam Cook comes in for a run on the second, he's met by the Eels and pulled down for a very small gain. Left now as the halfback Schneider plays it to one of his forwards. Eels getting back on side, looking to work that right edge, or their right edge open side. Early shift for the Raiders, which sees the Eels caught short, and that's the right winger beaten there. Hayes Perham coming across in cover. He's got Rankin and Penasini there as well, using the sideline as the extra defender, and that is great cover defense there, and probably not the highest IQ move by the left winger there, Savage, for the Raiders, mate.
Well, mate, it was actually good to see the communication between the Eels players in defence. I caught a little bit of the Eels Cup team coaching that Ryan Carr was taking them through with some of their defensive decisions this week, and that was almost a moment that was captured at training. That's how
you do it in the drills, exactly.
Yeah, the drill that was being practiced, it was almost that drill to a T. There was good communication between the players. They shut down his opportunity to link with his support players, drove him over the sideline.
And to be fair, I think Savage probably had the time to head back in field at some point, but he got boxed in by the trio of defenders and they just held him up, drove him over the sideline, as Michael Oldfield is driven backwards onto the 30-metre mark for the Parramatta Eels.
And we've got Greg coming on for his second stint.
Nathaniel Roach at dummy half, finding Hayes Perham, who weaves in through defenders for a really nice game before the ball pops out the back. And the referee has quickly spotted it and called the knock-on with the Raiders to have the loose head and feed about 8 metres in the Parramatta's half with time off for...
I think we've got an injury here, mate.
It looks like Hayes Perham was hurt in the process, and that's perhaps why he's dropped the ball. As the referee's quickly signalled time off. Trainer is out there. Hayes up on his, sitting up at least, but he looked to be in a little bit of discomfort prior to that. And during this break, just a score reminder, the Parramatta Eels do lead 12-4, just about 8.5 minutes left in the first half.
Look, I think this is a crucial period because the Eels made the Raiders pay for a couple of errors inside their own half or inside their own quarter. You've now got this Eels error just around about 42 metres out from their own line.
Correct, mate.
And the Raiders are going to have possession. They've just started to click on their left edge, the Raiders, and it's obvious that that's their target is the Eels' right side defence. And that last opportunity that they created, well, the last couple of opportunities have been created on that side, and the Eels will do well to number up and shut down any attacking raids off this scrum.
Raiders showing a 2-4 split from left to right here from their scrum formation, although it looks like Adam Cook is floating behind the ruck, with the option to swing either side. Schneider lined up at first receiver on the right, and that's where Havili goes. He turns the dummy inside to Cook before taking the tackle himself. And then Havili will slide into dummy half, pushing Cook back out to the left, as the Raiders do indeed play that way, to number 16, which is Caleb Acero, who steams into the line, 30 metres out from the Parramatta goal line now. Havili continuing to play left, finds Schneider, who uses his options and then uses Trey Mooney on the short ball. Mooney is carrying Joey Lussick for a few metres before he's pulled down by Roach and looks like Elliot Elsgaham. Right as Froey looks to turn inside but then shapes to his right, finding Schneider, who rolls in early, and it looks like Hayes Perham has looked to his options, summed it up and touched the ball down, knowing that the ball was not going to roll dead. That's a well-weighted kick by the Canberra halfback, mate.
Yeah, and obviously they're about to have a period of showing a bit more patience and composure in their attack, just working for the repeat set of 6. The Eels line drop out. Under these conditions, I reckon we might be lucky to just go past the 30-metre line.
The wind has died down for the kick, so let's see how far they can get it. And they will drive it out about 40 metres on the fly, where it is marked by Schneider, who turns his number 14, Adrian Trevelyan, into the defensive line. Havili naturally at dummy half as he works to his left, finding his lock forward, who then finds Trey Mooney. Mooney beating the first Eel, which would be Nathaniel Roach, before he's quickly cut down.
Mate, does he look a lot bigger than when he was with us?
He's certainly hit a growth spurt, mate. As the Raiders play to their right, Havili finding Schneider, who turns out the back to Adam Cook. Options towards Cook's right, but he will dummy it and take it himself, where he is cut down by, that might be Lala Tolmata Arthur out there. Schneider now, once again, they like to turn the ball inside. It's been a real focus of their play here. He links up with one of his forwards who was brought down. Number of tackles left here for the Raiders as they set up shop towards their left. Havili plays it. We'll find a link man who then finds Froy, who throws a almost identical cutout pass to what we saw from Jordan Rankin earlier in the game down the same side. And the Raiders will touch down for their second try of the game as the left winger, Xavier Savage, gets on the board, mate.
Mate, as you said, the long cutout pass to the winger, and with the Eels winger looking to cut in and to jam on the centres, it was just an open passage to the line. He's had not much more than probably about 16, 17 metres to run to the line. And on top of that, he's been able to bring the ball in probably the best part of maybe 16, 17 metres in from the touch.
Wasn't quite as egregious as the Sean Russell centering of the ball, but still makes the kick not quite a knockover, but much easier, that's for sure.
Well, I'll go on out on 12-10 after this kick. I don't know how much of a limb I'm climbing out on, to be truthful.
We'll put down Troy Savage, the one-time Wenty player. No, this is Xavier Savage for the try in the 35th minute. Kick to come. Parramatta Eels do lead 12-8, but we're expecting that margin to narrow to just 2 points.
Mate, a moment ago you said that the wind was dropping. Have a look at the wind on the flags at the moment.
It's not hitting us too much at the moment, but it almost looks like the flags are flying in 2 different directions, if I'm going to be honest. But coming from over the shoulder of the Canberra player, Brad Schneider, it looks like, but maybe a little bit left to right. Schneider hunches over, takes his approach. 1, 2, 3, and puts it over as we expected, mate. And like you tipped, the score does narrow to 12-10 in Parramatta's favour. Handful of minutes left here in the first half, just under 4 indeed.
Mate, my fear as an Eels supporter was that error inside their own half would be costly, and
you called it.
Yeah, and also the Raiders going to their left. It's almost predictable at the moment that that's the side they're going on. Earlier in the match, there was a communication breakdown. They've looked like they've got their act together now. The Raiders on their left.
Hayes Perham drives it down into the end goals where it is marked well by, I believe, Menezi Kahu there. As the Canberra Raiders get underway, strong carry to start their set. They'll play the ball about 13, 14 metres out from their line. Havili appealing for a 6 again, and he is awarded one. The Eels too slow in the play the ball there. As Canberra work it to their left, starting to centre that ball through the middle, mate. Havili continues left as the Eels man up in a better manner this time. Looking for a 1-1 strip, perhaps? No, just a strong carry there. Eels having the comeback on the ball. And the tackle will be completed just short of 10 metres from halfway. Havili playing to left edge, short side as Frawley finds Kai O'Donnell on the short line. He's met strongly by Will Penasini there. Good football from both teams. Frawley playing it right as he finds his number 16, Caleb Acera, who was tackled just over halfway. Havili now jumping out of dummy half. Spine the marker's not quite in position, but a miscue on the right edge shift on the following tackle sees the Eels intercept the ball. Looks like Sean Russell, the man there, who then picks up a penalty because of extracurriculars in the tackle. He's obviously okay, but Eels will get a little bit of a piggyback downfield, mate.
Yeah, I think that was a timely penalty for the Eels. The Raiders were having a very good set there, had the Eels back pedalling, and the Eels are now, after that penalty, touch finder about 5 metres into the Raiders' half.
Michael Oldfield gets him underway, finding Lolotol Mata-Afa, who then turns Wiramu Greg into the defensive line. The big man with a strong opening carry as he's tackled by about 4 Raiders there, I think, mate. Very slow play, the ball. It could be another 6 again forthcoming, but it isn't, as Lussick turns Kurt Dillon into the defensive line. Playing to the right now for the Parramatta Eels. Roach at dummy half. Works it to the left, Rankin at first receiver, taking on the line, cut-out pass to Hayes Perham, who dummies to his left, dummies again, and is brought down near the sideline by the scrambling defenders there. Looks like Rankin out of dummy half there, just scooting and then flicking the ball out the back wildly. Eels do recover and continue to work the ball centre field. Greg will settle things down, thankfully. He'll put it about 12 metres out centre field, right in front of those posts, as Roach goes into dummy half, goes left, and it's Hayes Perham at first receiver who finds Lolotol Mata-Afa, who beats the first man but can't link up with his outside men. That will bring up the last. How the Eels going to play this one, by air or by ground. And they'll find Rankin with a sloppy pass, who rolls along the ground towards uprights, fielded in goals by the Raiders, but the kick chase from the Eels traps him there and forces that repeat set, mate.
Mate, it's don't they say the set's as good as its last play?
That's what it usually amounts to, doesn't it? You can sort of fart around for 4 or 5 tackles, but as long as you take care of business on that last tackle, it sort of makes things matter.
So we've got the line drop out from the Raiders, and
30 seconds on the clock, so the Eels will have 1 or 2 plays here, depending on how the shot clock is enforced.
They're taking their time.
They are taking their time. The referee has signalled for the kick to go, and they will be struck with about 18 seconds left. It's a bit of a worm burner there as Mata-Afa fields it and sends big Wiramu Greg into the team, who was met strongly in a good run, good tackle kind of situation.
This will be the last play.
Last play, yeah, 6 seconds on the clock.
Get to it.
He's going to get to his feet with about 3 seconds left. Gets it out to Kurt Dillon, who plays out the back to Jordan Rankin, who will kick ahead. And I'm playing blind here as number 19 fields it, flicks it inside, and it is intercepted. But it is all moot because the touchy has said that number 19 has put a foot on the sideline, and that will bring an end to the first half. The Eels holding a very narrow advantage, 12-10, after being ahead 12-0.
And, mate, we've got the dog on the field.
And we are playing the Canberra Raiders, not the Canterbury Bulldogs, mind you, but it looks like there's a husky, or was a husky or something on there on the field.
It might have been a puppy German Shepherd.
There you go. But quickly herded off the field, and thankfully no canine or player was hurt in the process.
Mate, you talk about going back to the old days, because it wasn't unusual for somehow a dog to find themselves on the field during the 70s and 80s, and we had that right on halftime there as the siren was sounding, the play was going into the corner. Out comes the dog wanting to get involved with chasing the football. Yeah,
so we're at oranges now. Parramatta Eels lead 12-10. Try scorers for the Eels were Sean Russell opening up the account, followed by Kai Rodwell steaming over next to the posts. For the Dogs, their left centre, Brigham Mulkiola, started their comeback, followed by his partner on the left edge in Xavier Savage. So like you said in the call earlier, mate, the left edge starting to click for the Raiders, and the Eels probably have to live with the coach to figure out what they're going to do.
Mate, we had both teams in that first half pay the price for errors. So the Raiders were the first to make a couple of errors, paid the price, then the Eels followed up. You'd have to say that I think for Parramatta to keep their nose in front, they're going to have to really watch this attack of the Raiders down their left side, because the Eels' right side defence has been opened up probably about 4 times, and both tries from the Raiders were scored down the same edge. Now, albeit that the first one came off a kick, but it was a kick behind the Eels' right side defence. There was, unfortunately, there was no one at home to clean up the kick. And as I mentioned, outside of that, you probably had about 4 line breaks that came on the Raiders' left edge. And I believe there would have been more, except for early on in that first half, as called. There seemed to be a communication breakdown on that side of the field for the Raiders, and the passes weren't going to hand. But the opportunities were definitely there, mate.
And for those that are still with us, we do appreciate it. We do apologise for the technical issues we've had with our connection. We've been trying to sort through it, and it has improved a little bit, but we are far from in ideal circumstances at this point in time, and we will endeavour to have have a better connection next time. But it's very much a work in process for us, isn't it, mate?
Yes, mate. And I just noticed the Eels Brains Trust just to our left and just in front of us. Mark O'Neill and some of the recruitment team just having a look at proceedings here. So they're not up in Brisbane today. I don't know whether they're going to fly up tomorrow, but they're here watching the lower grades go around, which actually is a good thing because it's keeping them in touch with what's happening in the pathways coming through. And if you're not watching the video, which I'm sure they all do anyway, but being out here in person, it's always good to see.
Yeah, always. Usually there'll also be a players contingent in person here too, but given the nature of Magic Round, they're up in Brisbane. Eels obviously playing 1:50 p.m. tomorrow against New Zealand Warriors, so it'd be a little bit of an ask for them to be here in attendance to support their teammates and then get up to Brisbane in time for the game, right?
Yeah, I believe they went up earlier today for the captain's run.
Correct. Yeah,
gives them a little bit more time in preparation. It's been an interesting week for them with those players being unable to train, and we've seen that the squad has been trimmed down with the appearance here of Joey Lussick and Jordan Rankin.
Yeah, obviously named in that team list Tuesday 21, but not making the flight up to Brisbane. I dare say the Parramatta Eels are probably going to be 1-17.
Yeah, there was a thought amongst some Eels supporters that Jake Arthur was not going to play, that it was going to be Jordan Rankin, but it was always going to be that Jake Arthur was going to be making his debut.
I can respect the coach doing the old reverse, a bit of a smokescreen, name the safe option, then bring a rookie in on game day. You don't see it the other way too often.
No.
They'll name a rookie to start and then say, oh, no, got you a bit of smoke and mirrors. It was Jordan Rankin all along. So,
yeah, and I think in terms of protecting the rookie, Jake Arthur's got such a level head. He wasn't going to be fazed by any attention which was going to come his way this week.
Yeah, well, growing up as a coach's son, had a lot of exposure to first-grade football and the rigours behind the scenes. So, not to say he's going to be a superstar on his debut, but I think he'll do his job just fine, mate.
Yeah, so just here on this game, the wind seems to be swinging around, if I'm not mistaken.
It is now blowing, across the field from our vantage point to the opposite sideline and then circling back towards the clubhouse. So we're not really sure how to read this one. It's probably contributed to some of those errors off the kicks, mate, for both teams because it's swirling and swirling.
But I don't know if I suppose you would just call it the old swirling wind that's in operation today. But in the first half, if anything, it seemed to favour the Raiders.
I would say that, my initial belief was that it was coming over our shoulders, our left shoulders, into our microphones. But then that's definitely changed, and I would have said it's coming over the Canberra Raiders' left shoulders when they're running towards the clubhouse.
Yeah, so how many points would you attribute to this breeze today, mate?
Well, they usually say it's about 8 to 10 points, don't they, in most games when you've got a strong breeze over your back.
So if that's the case, and the Eels have a 2-point lead going into half-time, and we're expecting then that whatever advantage, if the breeze stays pretty much in its current direction, it will be favouring the Eels slightly in the second half, then it's a reasonable position to be in going into half-time with a lead, with any lead. However, as I said, what's concerning me is the Eels' right side defence. Mm-hmm. Mate, what do you think? Is it a matter of how they're numbering up? Are they jamming at a point when they're not meant to be jamming? So it seems to me that we're being caught with midfield, where we're playing that compact defence and they're just getting around us. There seems to be no slide happening whatsoever.
Aggressive early shifts by the visitors in Canberra have caught the Eels out a couple of times for sure.
And then once we get into our quarter and we're playing a little bit more spread, we had the winger jamming in to try and cut down the centre in a play where, of course, the cutout pass was used, went straight out to the Raiders winger, and he had a clear passage to the try line. So, I think there's a little bit there for Coach Ryan Carr to work out in the second half. He managed to do that in last week's game, but we seem to have the same problems this week as we did last week in terms of just not quite getting it right on that right side defence.
And yeah, with the updated team sheets at halftime, we do have it confirmed that Harrison O'Toole is the number 19, but they've got him listed at dummy half, and it looks like he's playing on the right edge, out at wing, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll try and keep you updated there. Half.
Which way this wind's going, it seems to be starting to head more crossfield than, like directly across field than sort of the southwest to northeast sort of directions that it was heading before, and I think the breeze is going to be a significant factor in this second half, and what I'm expecting is if it stays as it is, that the Eels will be putting up a few challenging kicks once they get into the Raiders quarter.
As we do get away in the second half, the Canberra Raiders have a relatively short kickoff here. Parramatta will work it from right to left as Will Penasini gets involved on the second tackle. Left now as Wiremu Greg shapes up for a bit of that Kiwi sidestep there. Apologies, I'm just doing some housekeeping on the stream here.
This has been one of the chases where the bounce is. So he's now ahead of the ball, but the ball's hit the ground, and all of a sudden it's there almost just in front of him.
Taking a kick towards the clubhouse, and he is in prime position because he's overshot the kick a little bit, and he just races through, wins the chase for the rolling ball, touches it down without issue, and gets the Eels on the board in the 42nd minute, I want to say, maybe even less, might have been the 41st. And gives Jordan Rankin a pretty easy kick a goal in terms of what he's had today.
I'm just imagining the joyful expletive that went through Hayes Perham's mind as that happened.
As Rankin sprays it from about 10 metres, maybe not even 10 metres to the left, the uprights, and he has just sprayed that one off the tee, and it's waved away accordingly.
Mate, there's no ignoring that. That was a reasonably ordinary kick. I think he was perhaps maybe allowing for a bit of breeze where there was no need to allow for it from that short range.
Driven it to the right of the uprights, and the Eels will hold a lead of 16-10. Kickoff gets us back underway. Roach follows it under the silhouette there as the ball's kicked towards the sun, I believe, or where the sun is angled. Sends Wiremu Greg into the defensive line, and the Eels will get underway in their kickoff set. Greg will play the ball. Left now to Kai Rodwell, I believe, who's back on, or is that Kurt Dillon? As we hopefully he'll roll over on his back.
I'm thinking Dillon.
Yeah, that might be Kurt Dillon there. Rankin gets the ball down the right side using Ellie Elsgaham early, and he is met strongly. Looking to offload there, but can't quite free the arm. Choosing to hold on to the ball. Always happy when they do that, mate, and don't force it. Left as Rankin turns Kurt Dillon infield. It is Kurt Dillon, mate. So good eyes there. Eels about 3 metres shy of halfway there. Playing left, Lussick finds Greg out on the edges. Big man thinks about offloading, but is quickly wrapped up by about 4 defenders as they absolutely pile in on the tall prop forward. Oldfield will play, get the ball from dummy half, and Rankin will look for the torp bomb from midfield, coming down, and you saw that one coming from a mile away as they're going to rule offside chases, which the Eels were almost certain to score there. Charbel Tassapali had scooped up the loose ball with no defenders in his vicinity, but the referee has found offside chases, which I don't think they directly impacted the catch. They were about 5-6 metres away, but we know that the Eels will get pinged there.
Mate, the Raiders got very lucky with that call. As I suggested at half-time, the wind was going to be a major factor.
It is kicking up massively now. I don't know if it's coming across on the microphones, but the Raiders will find touch 10 metres short of halfway and resume play from there. Havili linking up with the number 12, Harry Rushton, who takes the ball into Parramatta's half and is pulled down by Wiremu Greg and Nathaniel Roach.
Mate, if anything, it looks like it's starting to head straight down the ground.
Just like straight as you like to see when you're playing golf, mate, and you're teeing off, and it adds a good 30 metres or so to your drive. Raiders working it to the left now, coming back centre field as big number 16, Caleb Becerra, is turned in. He gets a nice offload away, but the Eels quickly wrap it up. Sharp work there by, is that Nathaniel Roach? might be there. Havili jumps out of dummy half and is met by Elsgame at mark. He gets away from him, finds support out to the left with Brigham Mulkioa fielding that little flick ball. He's brought down, bringing up the last. About 3 or 4
the closest I get to watching golf is watching repeats of Caddyshack.
They send the kick cross field, but it's caught up in that breeze we're talking about, and it's batted back by the Raiders after bouncing. They knock it on, scooped up by Sean Russell, I believe. Yeah, Russell's there to clean it up, and the Eels get underway. Michael Oldfield taking the first carry there for the Parramatta Eels. He rolls over, plays the ball as Lussick finds Lalatoa Mataafa. He's cut down by Trey Mooney and might be Harry Rushton there. Brad Schneider involved in the next tackle for the Raiders as he brings down Charbel Tassapali. Hayes Perham getting involved and having a dart running behind some players, but it's not deemed to be the shepherd there as he heads back in field. He's pushed in to play the ball. Could have been a 6 again call there, but does not come. Rankin playing downhill now. Great ball, finding Elskaham, who is on the front foot, flicks it back inside, finding a Canberra Raider, I believe. Yeah, it's been intercepted. So Elskaham trying to press the advantage there, but good cover defense from the Raiders intercepts the offload, mate.
Yeah, just that one push pass too many. And at first I actually wondered whether the Raiders had knocked that ball down and forward, but clearly backwards, and they're now just past their quarter line on third tackle. As
they continue to work it out, nothing fancy here, just one passes from dummy half. Wiramu Greg and Joey Lussick involved in the tackle there. Lussick rolls out of the way to avoid giving away a set restart as Harry Rushton cuts back inside the ruck to bring up the last 10 metres from halfway. Matt Frawley drives it downfield but picks out the fullback Hayes Perham, who will take the ball and weave his way back into the kick chase, met by Trey Mooney and a couple other defenders there. Looks like Brad Schneider also involved. Eels play left to Sean Russell, who gets in behind the ruck, falls forwards, but it's well tackled there. Nice little hip sort of, not toss there, but conventional tackle. As number 15, who is, no, 15, that might be Dylan Clifford there. Sorry. Comes in for a run. Eels will then shift it right, gets through all the way out wide to Lalatoa Mataafa, I believe. No, to Will Penasini, who has the ball chopped out of his hands, and that's a turnover, mate. So Eels not completing their set here, and I suppose technically not completing their last set too because they gave away the penalty on the kick. It's going to come back to haunt them in terms of field, territorial battle, rather, is what I was
Mate,
trying
you
to
don't
call.
like to see runs of incomplete sets. So I think the priority for the Eels on their next possession, provided they defend, because of, the old maxim is defend your errors. So provided they defend the error here, I think the priority must be to complete their next set.
So we're 8 minutes into the second half here as the Canberra Raiders will pack for the loose head and feed. Centre field 10 metres in to their own territory. Havili is at lock forward and he will play the ball from the base of the scrum, finding the fullback Adam Cook, who dummies and is then tackled by Sean Russell. Back to the left now for the Raiders. They work it to the open side, finding number 15, who is Clay Webb. He's met strongly by the Parramatta Eels defence. Looks like Roach and Lussick combining there. Left as Trey Mooney gets in behind the ruck once again. Getting a 6 again call there. I have to say maybe for offside defenders because there was nothing untoward in the actual play of the ball. Havili will link up with Harry Rushton, who then turns a fellow forward back into play.
Is that Mooney?
That might be Trey Mooney again, yeah. My apologies. Havili jumping out of dummy half now, looking to link up for support, but it's not there. Choosing to take the tackle, but he takes a number of defenders to bring down, eventually gets there, so it's going to be a slow play of the ball, but I don't think there'll be any sort of infringement there. As Schneider will turn number 16, Asira, back in towards the posts.
Are they centering to go left, mate?
It looks like they are building to the left, yeah, because Froy's looking to get behind a couple of blockers here. And, yeah, the ball come that way. He really jumps out dummy half, finds Froy on the block, who then finds Adam Cook, who was absolutely pummeled. And he nearly lost the ball. It's popped up, but he's gathered it in before it touches the defender or the ground. But it looks like Mataafa has absolutely buried him there. As Froy will kick it on the last. Crossfield to Canberra's right. And it is taken by the Raiders, but the Eels quickly jump on and will bring an end to the set on tackles. And the ball is turned over for a play of the ball just in front of Parramatta's uprights, mate.
Well, I think an indicator of just what the Raiders' intent was that it was possible for me to predict exactly where they went once they centred the ball.
So worked it right, set up for that left edge shift. And credit to the right winger who, I said Mata Arthur, but I'm not sure if it's Mata Arthur or Harrison O'Toole.
I think it was Harrison O'Toole.
Yeah.
Mata Arthur was just over where the ball was kicked.
Yeah, so we're still trying to get the inner workings there of that change, even though it's not that difficult. Calling it live after getting those player movements can always trip you up. But yeah, O'Toole made a great read and jam there. Nearly forced the error. And the Raiders did recover to get the kick away, but the Eels held on as Lussick will play the ball from the ground to find Will Penasini, it looks like there, who is driven back after meeting the team strongly, but he's held up and then forced backwards. Makatoa's back on. He'll get a strong carry. That's a really strong carry, actually. Falling forwards, opportunity to play the ball relatively quickly here, and he does that as the Eels play to their left. Nathaniel Roach taken high there. No call from the referee, but it looked like he was clobbered across the chin. Ooh, Kurt Dillon taking a carry and flipped over. Makatoa getting his second run of the set. Shaping to link up to his right, but holds onto the ball and gets tackled just shy of halfway, bringing up the last clearance kick coming from the Eels. Ball will find Rankin, who goes for that towering bomb again. It's a
got some wobble on it,
not quite a shank, but it's a torpedo bomb attempt, which is diffused by Xavier Savage, who then beats the kick chase initially before coming out to the opposite side of the field where he's met by Michael Oldfield and Sean Russell and eventually brought down 9 metres short of halfway.
That was a run of intent.
Yeah, you could tell straight away he wanted every bit of the defenders that he could get there as Canberra play it centre field via their left winger Menezi Kaho, who nearly breaks the line but is pulled down at last. Adam Cook getting out of dummy half and linking up with his left centre, Toby Marks. Right centre, sorry, Toby Marks.
You're getting a roll on here, mate.
Yeah. Havili now jumping out dummy half, looking at that retreating defensive line with some eyes as big as dinner plates. Flicks an offload out to Harry Rushton, who was then pulled down. Canberra with all the ascendancy here. Options to either side of the ruck. Havili will go to his right as he finds Frawley, who links up with Brad Schneider, who will roll the ball in. Sean Russell trying to flick it over, and he falls over and can't get a hand to it, which allows the right winger, Menezi Kaho, to score a fairly simple try, mate. And the referee will mark it down. Russell, unfortunately, tripping over as he tries to bat the ball dead. Couldn't quite get his hand to it, and the Raiders profited.
Mate, it was heading that direction from that very first run with intent from the Raiders winger. Was that Savage that was the Raiders winger? First of all, his carry really set the tone for that set of 6. Just to paint the picture, he's caught the ball on about his own 20-metre line out on the left wing for the Raiders. He's headed centre field. He was literally saying to the Eels defenders, I dare you to stop me on this carry.
Mm-hmm.
He's ended up carrying the ball to the 40-metre line across on the other side of the field. From there, quick play the balls, and the Raiders roll down into the Eels quarter, in fact, right down to the Eels 10-metre line before, and that was within 4 tackles before the ball was put in behind the Eels' left side defence. And as called by 40, there was the attempt by Sean Russell to bat the ball dead. He's tripped over as he's attempted to reach out to bat the ball. He's missed it, or he's just got a small flick on the ball. The Raiders have grounded it. They've got a kick for goal, probably about 9 metres in from touch on their right side, the Leagues Club side of the field.
Yeah, so that'll narrow the margin to 2 points with the kick to come. We'll put down, Menezi Kaho for a try in the 54th minute thereabouts as the kick goes left, but it's been put through, so it's faded hard as it's gone through the uprights. Both touches happy with the attempt. They raise their flags, and we're now deadlocked at 16 all, mate.
Mate, that was a great kick in these conditions. Got a nice hook on the ball. That last miss kick from Jordan Rankin might turn out to be quite costly because that was a lot easier kick than what the Raiders just faced then.
Yeah. As Hayes Perham gets us underway, driving the ball to Parramatta's right, it'll be marked by Matt Frawley, who then finds Trey Mooney, I believe. Oh, he's absolutely belted. Was that Menezi Makatoa there? Sorry, Makahezi Makatoa and Kirk Dillon combining there as Joey Lussick and Nathaniel Roach combine on tackle 2 to make the Canberra to come down and play the ball. Good third run, though, gets the Canberra Raiders back into the contest here. Harry Rushton getting in behind the ruck. Raiders really focusing on getting in behind the markers, mate.
Yeah, they're making some serious metres through the middle of the ruck at the moment.
Right now, the Brad Schneider who turns it back inside the Trey Mooney, who is tackled but gets an offload away to Sevilla Havili, who then links up as they go to the left edge. O'Toole rushes up and tries to make tackle, but is beaten as the Raiders will kick ahead. But Sean Russell, showing some great heads-up defensive play there, has come in from the other side of the field to play the second fullback role and has diffused that situation perfectly.
Mate, that was an important read from Russell because the break had been made again against the Eels' right side. Savage had come in. He didn't manage to get anyone, and line break was made, kick ahead, and thankfully Russell was there to cover up.
Eels focused on getting the ball outside of their half now. Lalato Mata Arfa, and I believe that's Will Penasini getting involved here for early carries. Canberra muscling up in the middle against those outside backs. Nathaniel Roach at dummy half will link up with Makatoa, playing out to that right edge despite being a prop forward, giving a bit of a license to roam there, mate. Brings up.
Mate, there's a decided difference in the ruck speed here.
Parramatta need to get back to completing their set strongly here, as I'm not sure about that option from Jordan Rankin. He's opted for the end over end ball. He's somehow
how did he hold that?
So Rankin with the probably not the greatest kick to end that set, going for the midfield bomb instead of driving it for the territorial battle. And the Raiders have cleaned it up on their 30-metre mark, gotten a quick 6 again, and they're away. Working into Parramatta's half now on what will be tackle 2 with the 6 again. I'm trying to figure it out here. Elskaham making that tackle as they play right to Leo Thompson, who centres the ball. Eels just holding on grimly here, mate. Canberra with all the ascendancy, all the momentum, and they'll play it to the left, Havili finding Trey Mooney, who does a little skip and a hop and meets the defensive line where he is tackled 15 metres shy of Parramatta's goal line. At dummy half, Havili gets the ball played to him, finding Matt Frawley, who dummies inside and takes on the line, but is pulled down to bring up the last. Parramatta need to hold on here. Quick play the ball, sees the Raiders attack to the right, and they'll throw a long cutout pass. That one floated a long way forwards, but I'm not sure how it was out the back of the hands because I can't really see from my vantage point. But either way, the touch is happy, the main official's happy, and unfortunately Sean Russell just missed the interception attempt, seeing the right winger Manezi Kaho getting a quick-fire double.
Mate, that all started with that spectacular take by Manassi Kaho down at just outside the 20-metre line. He's gone up for the big take. He probably didn't need to go up.
No, he left the feet to gain that protection, I suppose, from the kick chase, but I don't think the kick chasers were close enough to contest. Yeah. He dropped it, pulled it in inches off the ground, and ends up setting up the try. Sets up the try. He later goes on to score.
Mate, it shows how the game can turn very, very quickly because he was just the slightest fraction away from losing the ball. If the contact had happened just a split second earlier before he gathered the ball in, it would have been the Eels on the attack inside the Raiders' quarter.
Yep.
But that last Raiders try came on the back of the fact that they were getting a really quick play the ball. And now it's something that had been noticed in the previous set. I talked about the difference between the play the ball speeds of both teams. The Raiders really quick play the ball, march downfield super fast, and way too easy. 4 tackles, they've gone over 50, 60 metres downfield. That set them up in that prime position for that play, and they've executed it perfectly.
Yeah, quick fire double for Manezi Kaho, second one going down in the 58th minute, giving the Canberra Raiders, the lead 20-16, as the kick is then, miscued that time. Not stroked quite as sweetly as the effort before, leaving the score at 20-16 with 21 and a half minutes to play in this contest. And
just for any of our listeners, just to get a guide about the impact of the breeze there, he's gone for hooking that ball in the same manner as he attempted to kick the previous conversion. It hooked so much that it actually landed on the 10-metre line.
As Perham gets us back underway, drives this one long, hard and flat and too far.
Out on the field.
Yep. It was in the half a second where maybe it landed, in the in-goal, but with the aid of that, the unfortunate handicap of that breeze behind him, he's driven it too far and done the worst possible he can do from a restart, mate, giving away the penalty.
Well, with it being a 4-point game up to this point in time, and that was going to be an important set, really put the pressure on the Raiders to complete their set. Instead, the Raiders are now about 40 metres out from the Eels line with 5 tackles up their sleeve.
Havili taps and finds Trey Mooney on the opening tackle, met by Makatoa and Kurt Dillon, as Leo Thompson takes the second run for the Canberra Raiders. Havili at dummy half will play the ball to the right as Schneider goes down the right edge short side. Kicks early, spotting something there. Kicks ahead as Hayes Perham wins the race for the ball. Apologies, I was trying to get my head around the cameraman there so I could see what was going on. Race for the ball. Great heads-up play by the fullback there. Raiders obviously saw something they liked but didn't quite execute it, mate.
Well, what do you think of it, mate? I thought it was a strange play.
Yeah, well, you're up by 4 with 20 to go. You just want to get through your set. Just put pressure on the Parramatta Eels and force them to come out of their own half. So,
well, running into the wind, they probably had an ideal opportunity to be able to force a 6 again.
Correct. As the Eels work it out with Kurt Dillon, who rolls through that first contact, the 4 forwards for a solid gain. Bring up the last. Eels are deep in their half, though, as Rankin drives it downfield. He's going to find the grass here. That's a fantastic kick. Is that a 40-20? That's going to be very close. It's going to be touched here. What a kick. I'm tripping over my words here. He's kicked that from about 30 metres out, driven that far to the right, caught the space between the winger and the fullback. The wingers tried to bat it back in, Xavier Savage that would be, but it's been marked out, and it's going to be Parramatta play the ball on the 10-metre line of the Raiders.
Mate, there was even the Raiders player that was looking to prevent it from crossing the line. At best he was going to achieve was knocking the ball dead and getting a line drop out rather than to play the ball on the 10-metre line.
Rankin.
Maybe that's what he was actually trying to do.
Exactly. But, Rankin with the huge flipping of the field there. Eels will use Makahesi Makatoa on the first tackle. He will centre the ball right in front of the posts. Continuing left for the Eels as they find Kai Rodwell this time. He's going to be tackled about 2 metres short of a line. Roach shapes up to his right, gets out of dummy half, and then turns Makatoa back inside on the double under. Met strongly by the defenders there, and will be...
I'm expecting something from Roach.
As the Eels play left, Rankin first receiver, finding Charbel Tassapal in the short line, who is carrying defenders to the line, pulled down inches short. That's a great effort from the young back row there. Michael Oldfield at dummy half now. Eels lined up to the open side on the right. Oldfield will find Rankin, who will just centre the ball. He's going to drift, and then find Kurt Dillon, who bumps through contact again as the Eels settle it, and will reassess options on the last tackle here. Rankin on the right edge, and they do go that way as he beats the initial chaser, finds Makatoa there.
But they just looked like they lost the plot of where they were at.
Yeah, just lost track of the tackle count, despite the ref clearly having his hand up. That's not an issue from the official by any means. He did his job correctly there, and the Eels just not keeping... strong contact there by Kurt Dillon as Makahesi Makatoa piles on, and it's been quite a flop for a 6 again. Unfortunately, a dominant tackle undone by some sloppy work by Makatoa. Flat ball down the right side of the Canberra Raiders sees Sean Russell beaten by his opposite, Kaho, who then heads further in field, beating all the cover defenders, and then tries to link up to an outside man, but that ball has travelled well forwards out the hand, rolls over the sideline, so pick your poison in terms of the infringement, mate. But that's a huge let-off for the Parramatta Eels, although the initial pass probably was a little bit contentious.
Well, mate, there might have been some people who could pick up on our mics the calls of forward from the crowd just in front of us from that pass. But there's after that terrific break by Manasseh Kaho from the Raiders again, who's making his presence felt in this game, he just got a little bit impatient right at the end.
Yep,
it was early in the tackle count.
Exactly.
And he would have been tackled 5 metres out from the Eels line. I would suggest they were odds on to score within that set.
Parramatta working it out of their red zone via their right edge. Penasini and Elskaham getting the early runs and touches here. Roach at dummy half will find Kurt Dillon, Kai Rodwell after cutting out Makatoa. Tough sledding here for the Eels, though, as they need to get to their kick and execute correctly this set, mate. Otherwise, Canberra can carry, shrugging off defenders and getting over halfway. Roach jumps out of dummy half, linking up with Hayes Perham down the right short side, who has a little bit of sidestep and finds support in Jordan Rankin back to the left. Rankin will settle things down and send Kurt Dillon into the defensive line. bringing up the last, if I'm not mistaken. Yep.
Mate, I think there was a chance for that to be a 6 again call off that Makatoa play.
Yeah, correct. But not forthcoming for the Eels, as Rankin will send up the end-over-end bomb to the left edge. Oldfield giving chase, and the ball was allowed to bounce again. Oldfield winning the race. No, what's happened here? Oldfield has bumped off the ball, doesn't get a hand to it, so the referee is now consulting for his touchy. He's going to point to the spot. Who has scored that one, mate? Was that Kurt Dillon or Kai Rodwell? I'm not sure.
No. It was Mata'afa, I believe.
So Mata'afa has come from the skies to be the third or fourth man in and get the ball down and score for the Eels in almost identical but similar circumstances as the time that Hayes Perham scored. So Canberra not learning their lessons from kicks, much like the Eels not learning the lessons about completing sets, and both teams being made to pay the price.
This is almost a. I was going to say it's a war of attrition, but it's a war of attrition with regard to errors. Yeah. Because it's whichever team, and this may sound like a Captain Obvious statement, but whichever team stops making errors is going to be in the prime position to win this game.
Nathaniel Roach having a chat with the referee here. Nothing untoward there. I'm not sure what that was about, whether Roach is asking him about some clarification on a ruling.
I think he was asking him how his drink tasted.
So this is almost the exact same spot as where he missed that crucial conversion earlier.
We can't afford a miss here. It's 20 all.
14 minutes to play.
2-point lead here would be a really great advantage for the Eels.
And we'll just try and get official confirmation of the try scorer shortly. Sixties is tipping Mata'afa. We'll just wait for that to come through. As Rankin begins his approach to the tee. Strikes that one much cleaner. And both touches do not hesitate to raise those flags. The Eels are ahead 22-20 with under 14 minutes to play here on a rather chilly but sunny Saturday out at Ringrose Park, mate.
As the ball disappears over the back of the Wenty amenities block here and rolls out probably into Smith Street. He didn't muck around with that strike.
No half-assing, as they like to say. And Canberra get us underway. Eels will take the ball cleanly and send number 15, being Kurt Dillon for the blue and gold, into the defensive line. Dillon plays the ball to Roach, who jumps out of dummy half, finding the markers out of position. That's a really good carry.
Maybe he was saying, watch me in this set.
Yeah, exactly.
When he was talking to the ref, watch me, I'm going to take off from dummy half.
Roach saw something he liked and pinched a good 15 metres there. As looks like Tassapali, they're putting on the handbrakes for the defensive line and his tackle short of halfway. Eels continue to play right, finding Rodwell, who will shape to his right, but hold on to the ball, and great post-contact. That's a huge run. That's going to be a penalty? Yeah. Rodwell has carried defenders for a good 20 metres there. They were all over the ball and have jammed it loose, and the referee didn't take long to blow a penalty there. So, Hayes Perham.
So what we were saying before about the Raiders getting a roll on through the middle of the ruck, it's literally reversed there, and Parramatta were making all the yardage through the middle. Yes, sir.
So you're correct in your assumption, your observation that Mata'afa scored that try, mate, being officially confirmed. Eels will play right to Makatoa, taken by about 3 defenders, including Matt Frawley there. Rolls over and plays the ball to Nathaniel Roach, who will find Rankin. Rankin straightening the ball into the defensive line, taking the ball himself, earning a run to his name. Looks like going to go to Hayes Perham at first receiver now. Yeah, playing left to Perham. Options left and right. Turns right towards Kai Rodwell, who continues to just drive through contact. Great leg drive from the nuggety lock forward there. Parramatta Eels into the 10-metre zone for the Canberra Raiders now as Rankin plays short to Makatoa on Overs line. Beats the first defender but is pulled short of the line. Bring up the last. Makatoa will get to his feet and play the ball. Roach finds Rankin, the first receiver, who will play wide the Mata'afa, who can't bring the ball on cleaning and spins through the contact, flicking out the back, but it's an absolute mess here for the Eels as Oldfield scoops it, finds Russell and support, who will find...
We're going back 30 metres here, everyone.
30 metres to Hayes Perham, who'll send a crossfield kick up towards O'Toole, who forces the error, maybe? No, it's going to be the error from the Eels. That was a 50-50 call there, but it results in the Canberra Raiders getting the ball back about 50 metres off their goal line. So not the worst outcome for the Parramatta Eels, but that was complete chaos for a good run there as the Mata'afa sort of battered catch and recovery sparked a crazy sequence of events, mate.
Yeah, where the Eels went back, as I said, nearly 20, 30 metres to get that kick in eventually, which came very, very close to yielding a result for them.
Brad Schneider turning his right centre, which is Toby Marks, back into the middle, met by Makatoa and Kai Rodwell. Playing left now. Oh, flat pass. Flat pass from the lock forward, Darby Medlin. But the Eels have nearly forced an error here. Xavier Savage going back to clean up a loose pass on that left sideline. Eels will scramble and bring him down. A bit of sloppy play here from the Raiders as they look to fight it out of their red zone.
And it was, they had actually lap on their left side again, but the pass went astray.
Number 14 is on. Looks like the Adrian Trevelyan is the interchange dummy half. Bring a bit of energy, jumps out of dummy half, but is quickly tackled. Brad Schneider will clear the ball. It's not a great kick, but maybe it's going to get a result because of it. No. So he's miscued that kick, and the Eels have cleaned up via Sean Russell getting to the bounce of the ball before the kick chase as Michael Oldfield comes in field to get the Eels towards halfway, about 9 metres short of that mark. Right again as Rankin finds O'Toole, who is tackled and wrapped up, still short of halfway. Apologies here. Waiting for the play the ball, and it does come. Hayes Perham getting the Eels into the Raiders' territory. Couple tackles up their sleeve. It'll be interesting to see how the Eels play this set, whether they're aggressive or look to get into the arm wrestle again. Lasik at first receiver dummies and takes the line on himself. Nothing fancy there. Just getting to the kick for the Eels, and it'll be Rankin who will deliver that strike. And he's going to kick it towards the left, it looks like. Yeah, he's going end over end again. It's been in midfield. No one wants it. And again, they let it bounce. And the Eels going to recover it. Sean Russell scoops up one hand, tries to flick at the support, but he's wrapped up and the ball will pop out. My goodness, the Raiders get off the hook after another elementary mistake. You got to catch those on the full, mate.
That was almost a replay of every kick that's come over this side of the field.
And I will say this, Jordan Rankin is not putting any spice on those kicks. They're end-over-end bombs that aren't coming from like the skies. They're just generic midfield kicks, and they don't want a bar of them. So
no, almost every kick is finding the turf with players all around it.
As Trey Mooney meets the defensive line, tackled strongly by Makatoa, but he's fighting through, and the referee's going to call a shoulder charge. I believe he's indicated a shoulder charge, so that gets the Raiders out of trouble. I'm not sure who was at fault there.
Well, that was a tough call, because what were you talking about? The third or fourth tackle still within the Raiders' quarter. Now they get to take the ball downfield. They're going to find touch on their 40-metre line, certainly in a lot better position than they were in just 30 seconds ago. 8
minutes left to play here in the New South Wales Cup match in round 10. Eels do hold the ascendancy 22-20, but they're going to have to hold on grimly, mate, as the Raiders work it up to halfway. Their dummy half, Trevelyan, 006, gets them over halfway. And they continue to work through the middle now, playing to their right as Darby Medley gets the ball. Darby Medlin, I got there eventually. We'll take the Eels, the Raiders to their right. Left now as Medlin gets involved. Once again, lots of touches for lock forward in this set. They center the ball, playing to their left. It looks like, going that way. Flowey at first receiver. Short ball to Trey Mooney, who was met strongly. Can he get the ball away for some second phase play? No, the Eels will wrap it up. Bring up the last.
Are they going to the left?
And they're going to play to their left, unsurprisingly. Flowey at first receiver. He's going to play cutout pass to the left centre, who kick ahead. And we're trying to, they're going to point to the spot. So the left centre, Brigham Mulkiola, has just drilled a kick ahead. I think it's Mulkiola on that side, and he's just drilled a grub kick ahead that the Eels have played at, and it's bounced favourably for the Green Machine, and they've dived on it out wide to score, and they will take the lead with 6.5 minutes left in this game, kick to come.
Well, we called it as a crucial penalty because it was taking the pressure off the Raiders. It turned out to be a crucial penalty call because it's got them downfield, and again, they've gone to their old faithful side, which is the left-hand side, and once again, in going to the left-hand side, they found gold.
And I'm not sure if they've got it down for Savage or Mulkiola, who I believe is on this side, as a try scorer. We'll have to wait and see on the official confirmation, but it does give the visitors the lead. Up 2 points at the moment, 24-22, with that kick to come, and they're going to take all the time in the world to get that conversion attempt underway, which means the Eels are probably going to have to kick short, mate.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tip that this kick goes nowhere near being successful, but he's going to take plenty of time with it. certainly compared to his pre-kicks. We've probably already had at least a minute since the try was scored.
Well, the rule is 90 seconds and time off, so the referee should be signaling time off any second now, but I'm not sure how thoroughly those sort of things are documented in reserve grade. As the clock continues to trickle down, 5.5 left here, as Brad Schneider will take his approach. Struck it pretty cleanly. And it's going to fall short, waved away just to the right of the uprights, and probably didn't have the legs too by about a metre or two. So
he was always going to struggle in this breeze, getting the distance, especially how far back he took the ball. How, again, we come back to that missed conversion attempt from Jordan Rankin from close range, just how costly it might be with it being a 2-point game.
And that is a unique kickoff, and friend of the throw, Jeff, will be very happy about that one, mate. The Eels have shown some high IQ, I'm going to say, high footy IQ, as they drive the ball hard to the right, spotting a gap between the back rower and the centre, I believe, and have had the ball marked into touch about 11 metres off the Raiders' line. What a great kickoff.
This is why people should get to the games and watch these lower grade matches, because you will see things happen in these games which you just rarely see in the NRL.
That was perfectly executed by Hayes Perham, so well done, redeeming himself after that kickoff that went out in the full earlier in the second half. That was a brilliantly executed and spied opportunity, so you love to see that. Eels set up for the scrum, centre field, about 11 metres out from the line. Rankin's going to be feeding this with, I believe, Elsgaham at lock forward, so probably be Rankin playing the ball, you'd think. Xavier Savage did get a hat-trick there, mate, down for the try in the corner, so he completes his hat-trick. Well done to the Canberra winger.
4 minutes 28 on the clock as this ball's being fed 10 metres out from the
to
Raiders
play
line.
For Elsgaham does take the ball from base to scrum, will run the ball through the dissolving forward pack there, or the defences.
It looked like he was part of the communication about what was going to happen.
Roach plays the Rodwell down the left, but Rodwell has dropped it. Oh,
No.
A rare gaff from one of the Eels' most reliable members in the team, as they will go on the defence now for Parramatta. Rodwell looking to make amends as he gets out of Marcus, and be having to fight hard to get out of here. The Eels will not want to give away any cheap 6 against or penalties. Rankin making the tackle on the third here, or the second, because it was a 0 tackle. The halfback Trevelyan jumping out, the dummy half, Trevelyan jumping out dummy half and making good gains there, getting the Raiders out to their 30-metre mark. Playing to the left now as big number 10 knocks over an Eel, Ata Mariota, that is. Good carry there. As now the right centre, I believe, Toby Marks, getting in behind the ruck. Really good set here from the Raiders, given where they started, and they'll drive the ball down Parramatta's right on the last. Is that going to go out in the full? It will, maybe? Yeah, the touch, you had to think about that for a second, as Perham was perfectly on hand to guide it over the sideline. Eventually it's signalled and play will come back to halfway. So a huge break for the Eels. They've got 3 minutes to make a difference, mate. They will play it to the left, 2 passes wide, Rankin at first receiver, finding Kai Rodwell or Kurt Dillon? Finding Kurt Dillon, I believe, as Lussick takes a run on the second. Under 3 minutes now, still 3 tackles up the sleeves. The Parramatta Eels, they play right, Makatoa surging down the right side. Another great carry from the big man who's been heavily involved throughout this contest once again. Roach will pass to Rankin, wide left now. Eels setting up, short ball, Sharwell Tassapali. Rankin hit off the ball late.
And that in traffic, mate.
Correct.
2 tackles left.
Roach shapes right, goes left, finding Rankin. Playing short to Michael Oldford, who was well tackled by the Raiders. Scramble defense, bring up the last.
This is the play, mate. This has to play.
Maybe one more possession left for the Eels, depending on how this plays out, but Rankin gets out of dummy half and rolled in from so a result which they needed.
Has gone down, injured, just to might help to give them a bit of time to work out what they're going to do in this set.
To rally and recover. 2 minutes on the clock, time off. There's 3 players down with
cramp,
cramps.
mate. It's a cramp.
It's a cramp off.
Come on, yeah. The referee's noticed it. I think he's asking for them to take the line drop out with the cramp. So is there another player going down?
There's 3 players down with cramps for the Canberra Raiders, mate. It's an absolute battlefield out there in terms of the cramps.
And we've got Joey Lussick actually saying
querying.
This is just we've got Joey Lussick actually saying this is just cramp, mate. This isn't an injury. This is just cramp. Make them take the line drop out. I agree with him 100%. If they've got 3 players down with cramp, sorry, mate, that's their bad luck, and I think the referee's going to make them take the line drop. Is he?
Well, he's taking his post at the posts, but now he's walking back to the cramps. It's clearly a cramp. Not to sound like a one-eyed blue and gold or salty Parramatta fan, but like you said, when there's cramps, the directive is to continue play. If it's not an injury,
he's letting the player get up, and it looks like there's a replacement player coming on for the other player with cramp. Is that what's going on?
As the dropout eventually comes, Brad Schneider finding about 30 metres range, so a short kickoff. Makatoa gets back. Well, I'm not really sure why Rankin passed the ball.
No, he's probably missed an opportunity to get another 3 or 4 metres.
Eels made about
himself.
1 metre there. As Lussick on the second, as per last set, getting the carry. Tackled there by Trevelyan and Havili. Playing left here to Rankin, first receiver. Options out to the wide. He finds them as Perham finds Mataafa, who was tackled on the sweep by Brad Schneider.
And that was the right play holding the ball there.
No need to force it. Probably should have been a penalty there in the play of the ball, as Mataafa is put now as Perham chimes in, finding Elskaham, who beats the first defender and is wrapped up. Is he in danger of going to touch here? No, he's going to be held up, thankfully. We've got 1 minute 15 left here as the Eels will play on the right sideline, finding Nathaniel Roach at first receiver, who links up with Jordan Rankin, centre field, playing out to Hayes Perham, who finds Shabal Taspal, who finds Michael Oldfield.
He's in.
So
he's in. No. There's a touch judge calling.
No, he's going to. We're going to point to the spot.
It.
So Tassapali's linked up with Mataafa, who has found Michael Oldfield, who has dived over in the narrowest of corridors down that left sideline. And after that conference call between the touchy and the official, we are happy for the put down, mate. And the Eels are going to win this one
they got the win, mate. Just with where the touch judge had positioned himself, and it seemed that he positioned himself in the field side of the play, not in the in goal. I thought the indications were that maybe he'd lost the ball, that he was calling, look, this is no try, but the try's been awarded, and we've got the Eels ahead by 2 points, and there's only 20 seconds left of play. It's going to be a win to the Eels, 26-24, maybe 28-24, depending on this kick.
After stumbling and bumbling their way through the second half, mate, they've managed to come good in that final 10-minute period and done just enough to take home the bickies here because, geez, they made it difficult for themselves throughout this contest, I'll tell you what.
Well, mate, you said that before that the winner is going to be the team that doesn't make an error, and in that last set of when Parramatta had the ball 10 metres out from the Raiders line off the scrum and they made the error, I thought that's going to be costly. But then the Raiders returned the favour by kicking out on the full, which gave the Eels their opportunity to get downfield, get a repeat set, earn this try.
Rankin looking to add the extras here. Difficult kick because I think the wind's now swirling back to his face, or at least it's blowing into our face here, and we're just on top of him in the stand. He will approach the ball, and he has tried to hook it back from right to left. Hasn't done enough of the old JT magic there. And full time, the Parramatta Eels are going to steal this one, 26-24. And sometimes you win them ugly, mate, and at the end of the season they don't count. So you're going to take, or they all count the same, and you'll take that one any way you can get it, right?
Well, that was a take it anyway you can get it sort of match. As I said, it's not that there wasn't great football play, because there was some really enterprising play that was there. But you'd have to say that each team presented the other with those opportunities on the back of errors. So it was always going to come back to who made the last error, who made the most crucial error. For Parramatta, it was they were probably grateful that the Raiders kicked out on the full. As I said, on the last possession that the Raiders had, that gave them the opportunity. They took advantage of that. An entertaining game, mate. Any time you get a scoreline of something like 26-24, as it turned out, there's going to be some entertainment in it, and that's exactly what we had this afternoon.
And so to recap things, like 60 said, Parramatta Eels winners 26-24. For the visitors, Xavier Savage had a great game, scoring a hat-trick, with the other winger, Menezi Kaho, also getting a double. So busy day for the flankers for the Green Machine. Brad Schneider just 2 from 5, and that proved to be crucial in a contest where conversions were hard to come by, given the win, mate. For the Eels, Sean Russell started the scoring, followed by Kai Rodwell, Hayes Perham, Lalatoa Mataafa, and Michael Oldfield with the money one, the game winner at the end. Jordan Rankin going 3 from 5 off the tee, and that was the difference. And the fourth place Eels will hold their spot there for another week, mate.
Mate, I have to say I was very, very pleased with when Michael Oldfield had that opportunity presented, that he put his head down, went for the corner, knew what he had to do, delivered the win. So, mate, are we going to take a little bit of a break?
We'll take a short break and be back for the Jersey Flegg. I'll put a note up on the stream for those that are watching along or listening along there, so you'll know we'll be back. Kickoff is at 4:30 for the Fleggs. We'll be back probably 10 minutes before kickoff, mate.
Yeah, look forward to it.
All right, catch you later. Hello, and for those that are still listening, we are back. Kickoff for the Flegg is in 10 minutes. The Parramatta Eels playing host to the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Couple of changes here for the Eels. We'll go for the Dragons list first. At fullback is Trey Stewart, Tyrell Sloan, and Alexander Lobb, who we saw in the SG Ball earlier this year on the flanks. James Schiller and Hayden Butter in the sets. In the halves, front row have had Hudson Spicer, Matthew Nicholson, and Connor Mulison. In the back row, they've got Blake Dow, Shalom Ofu, and Harris Georgopoulos. On the bench, Ben Arant, Dallas Collins, Brian Magnonia, and Blake Barbudo. For the Eels, like I said, a handful of changes. It comes from outside the 17 to start in the front row on number 20. Back row is Ollie Clements in the 11. They played so well in the first half before struggling in the second half and eventually losing that contest. Going to look for more consistency from this week. And like you mentioned in the broadcast earlier, it's about minimising those mistakes, controlling the field position and giving yourself the best opportunity to win in these grades, mate.
Yeah, all the momentum in the second half worked against the Roosters. It was a disappointment. Spoken before about whether or not there's too harsh a criticism on the players, Dean Feeney, to have the Eels in such a position of ascendancy and things just not happening for them.
And yeah, with footy, big unit that can offload out last week, stand out in the pre-season aggressively, so looking forward to more of that. Debutant last week, or club debutant, he's got through a mountain of work. I'm really interested to see how he does in the starting role, mate.
Well, you'd have to think that if he's become more familiar with his
I'm not too bad at the cold, but news figure out at Ringrose.
Oh, mate, I thought I was rugged up enough. I've got the tracky dacks on. I've got the jacket on. I wish I'd brought the beanie up here on the edge of the grandstand in the broadcast areas that they have. They're actually quite exposed to the windy ground at the moment.
On full blast from the elements up here on the left wing of the stands where the media broadcasting and the coaches tend to sit. So we are 6 minutes from kickoff, it looks like. I'm looking at the time here, bearing in mind it's 35-minute halves in the Jersey Flegg. They don't play. Just trying to think what else was on my mind before this game, mate.
Well, mate, the Eels are still warming up out there. They might just be wrapping up their preparations. Actually, both teams are over there, so
maybe it's a ploy to stay warm ahead of the kickoff, mate. It's, you know, with those icy conditions, don't want to cause any muscle issues or whatnot.
Well, mate, I need something to keep me warm at the moment. I don't know, we might have to see if we can find a lackey to send off for a coffee or something.
And the other thing I want to mention, Samuel Loizu shook out the cobwebs last week, mate, playing on the wing in that loss against South Sydney, was it we played?
The Roosters.
The Roosters. And then this week, moving into the centres. Do you think he's more comfortable at home at the three-quarter position rather than at wing?
Look, he's someone that's got that versatility. He's played anywhere from the halves to out to the wing. Has he played fullback? I'm not sure if he's played fullback.
I can't recall off the top of my head, but I wouldn't have been shocked if at least one game in the junior reps he would have filled in there at some point.
So, being versatile, it can either be an advantage or, in some cases, it might even be a hindrance to a player's progression because they're not actually locking down one position or another. Now, for someone like Samuel Loizu, who's a young player, he's in the Eels development squad, he's part of full-time training down at the Eels centre at Kellyville. Mate, I think it's going to be to his advantage to play in a few positions at the moment because he's someone who's still growing into his frame.
Mm-hmm.
He's the youngest of the Eels players that's in the development squad. So I think he only turned 18 in December from memory, something like that. So yeah, as I said, youngest of the Eels development squad members. And look, he's a talent, mate. He made the Australian schoolboys team, and when he did, he was also, I think, the youngest member that was in that Australian schoolboys squad.
Correct, yeah.
I think he was still 16 when he was selected in the Australian schoolboys squad. So he's a talent. Good judges rate him as a near certainty to play NRL in the future. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's able to provide today. I was really pleased with his physicality last week. I thought that was a huge positive, considering that he was coming off the back of some injuries, and he didn't hold back. So good start for his return to football last week, and looking forward to what he produces this week.
And just checking the live ladder, as they like to say on Fox Sports. We're obviously not affiliated with Fox, but 6 matchup. Dragons coming to this game, 5 wins, 2 losses, but a negative 5 for and against, like we mentioned in our preview podcast, mate. So they've gotten the wins. They've also been belted a couple of times.
Yeah, isn't that the way with the Jersey Flegg, the old under-20s as it was previously, now under-21s? But you can just get those blowouts in the scores.
Yeah.
If one team has some defensive issues in a week, it just seems to be that the points will flow. And it doesn't even seem to matter whether a team is one of the top teams. Every team seems capable of having one of those weeks where defensively they have some issues.
No, I agree. There's a weird equaliser effect in the Jersey Flegg like that. So even the best of teams can be absolutely pantsed in a given week. So hopefully the Eels will be able to bounce back from their loss last week. Like we said, looking to improve their consistency set to set. Had a great first half and be looking to build on that this week, taking on a pretty good Dragons outfit by the looks of things.
Yeah, just on the Eels team, I've really liked what Fualo's done at fullback. I think he's been a real provides quite a bit of spark from that position. It wouldn't have been prior to that. I wouldn't have minded whether you had Fualu or Tavita Massima in the fullback position. I think they could easily interchange which position they play, be it the custodian role or the 5'8" role. But I think Fualo's done extremely well in the last few weeks, and Tavita Massimo, likewise, in the halves, has had quite a good couple of weeks. That's where it's going to be interesting, adding Josh Chappell to the spine.
And it'll be interesting to see how much Chappell frees up the rest of his spine members, because he plays that organising role so comfortably. Maybe Massimo and Falolo can be a bit more damaging for ball in hand this week, rather than focusing on getting their team in the right places across the field. As we see the Dragons players retreat to their dressing room, looks like we're set for maybe a 4:35 kickoff here.
Maybe they've got the heaters on in the dressing room. If I had the heaters on in the dressing room, I don't know if I'd want to be necessarily getting out onto the field to play. Again, I want to say to anyone listening in, it is cold here. If you're out and about, you'd be well aware of that. Now the floodlights are on here.
Just switched on, in preempting that sunrise, or sundown, sorry. Sunrise would have been in the morning, 40. This is the evening now, so as the sun does start to fade towards that horizon, the lights are on. The shadows are deep across the field. The clubhouse 20 to 30 metre zone still has some sunlight there, but the rest of the field is drenched in the snow.
Yeah, and for those people who have been watching the Magic round, we haven't had the sin bin, thankfully, in evidence here today as yet. I'm hoping that we don't see it in evidence in the Jersey Flegg. We avoided it in New South Wales Cup. The Eels have just come out onto the fields as the
Dragons retreated to the dressing room.
So the Dragons retreated to the dressing room. The Eels have come out onto the field. So the Dragons are probably going to get a quick word from their coach before coming straight, and they're just turning straight around and coming back out. And a spoiler alert for anyone that's not aware of the scoreline, the latest score that we have from the Magic round is that the Bulldogs 12 are leading the Raiders 8.
16 minutes to play. What's going on in Canberra? Oh my goodness. As the Eels line up to receive the kickoff here, it's hard to tell who would have won. Based on what we see here, you reckon the Eels won the toss or lost the toss? What do you like to do, mate? If you win the toss, do you receive or do you kick off?
Mate, well, I think I'd like to be probably running with the breeze in the first half when you know that there is no likelihood of it or little likelihood of it changing. so often, well, maybe not so often, but there's been many instances in the past where a team elects to run into the breeze in the first half and then the wind changes direction. Anyway, we've got kick-off now.
As the fullback, Trey Stewart, gets us underway. Marked about 10 metres out for the Eels as Tarsi James just tears into him. Oh, my goodness, he is not holding back. That's a great opening carry for the Eels. Hopefully sets a good tone as they play to their left, sending the ball to, I believe, Luke Bain here, who was tackled about 28 metres off Parramatta's goal line. Eels continuing to work left. Just rocking it out here. That one might be... I'm not sure if that's Ollie Clements there, so apologies as the Eels are without their numbers towards us, just trying to figure out spots. Mark Tepu-Smith playing at the line as Eels have some second phase ball, finding Josh Chappell, who takes the ball and is tackled on halfway. Great ball playing there by the Eels. Chappell getting his first touch and Flegg, and it's a nice one. Playing right to Luke Bain, who centres the ball and offloads to support. That looks like it's Clayton Falolo there trailing his lock forward. Dragons do well to trap him, bringing up the last. Eels will play to their left as Josh Chappell looks to clear the ball, and he's going to go a la Jordan Rankins, kicking to the left, end over, and they're going to let it bounce. No one's learnt their lesson from the last game as the Dragons get a favourable bounce, thankfully for them. It's cleaned up by their left winger, who I believe is Tyrell Sloan, if I'm not mistaken. He's tackled, and the Dragons get their first possession underway, champ.
Mate, this looks like it's going to be a repeat of what we witnessed earlier today.
Catch the ball! As the right centre is at dummy half, that's James Schiller. He feeds it out to one of his forwards, who's pulled down about 12 metres short of halfway.
Mate, and just on that, the Dragons were incredibly lucky that the ball bounced favourably for them. It could have bounced towards the goal line and they would have been in all sorts of trouble.
The bookend Spicer trips over and is tackled short of halfway as Eels look for a one-on-one sip. It's Massima on the dummy half, Mulson, but Mulson does hold on the ball. They'll track it back to clear the ball, and it's going to be a torp bomb towards Fruin Aesop, who takes it beautifully. Just no worries there, and gets back out to about 31 metres off Parramatta's goal line for a nice start to their set. Eels lined up either side, and they're going to go to the right, finding their winger, which is the big Matthew Komalafi. He's tackled by the Dragons, plays the ball back left as Tarsi James steams into the line. Big man fending off defenders there and is eventually pulled down. Probably should have got a 6 again there for a tug on the leg, but regardless, it doesn't come. But allows Jaden Yates to get a dummy half and run, but the ball squirrels out of his grip, and the referee has said that's a loose carry, mate, and the Dragons will get a nice start to their set about 8 metres into their side of halfway.
Well, at that point, up to that point in those couple of sets of 6 that we had completed, the Eels had enjoyed the better of the play because they had managed to march into the Dragons' half before putting the kick in. The Dragons, on the other hand, with their set of 6, they were kicking from their end of the field. That's an unfortunate error from the Eels, just like we saw in the last game. The errors turned out to be costly. Let's hope for Parramatta's sake it's not as costly just
Dragons
in that moment.
Go with the very rare 6-0 split on the scrum, so you absolutely stack their left edge and have to play that way where the Eels play them man-to-man defensively, no issues. They carry the ball over the halfway, midway through the set now, as it looks like Ollie Clements involved in the tackle there for the blue and gold. Tarsi James now marking up against his opposite, Matthew Nicholson, bringing the big man down, allowing the Dragons to play the ball and work it to their left. Nice flick pass to the left winger, who absolutely strolls past the cover defence and is going to score the opening points. Like you said, 60s, errors prove costly in these grades, and the Dragons have made the Eels pay what will probably be full freight.
Well, mate, Matthew Komalafi there just did not trust Samuel Loizu. Was Loizu out on that side of the field?
I believe Loizu is at right centre, based on last week.
Yeah, so Komalafi just didn't trust his centre. He came in. It opened the opportunity for the flick pass, which the Dragons player duly delivered.
I believe that was Hayden Budd down there. I think it's Hayden Budd down that side who flicked it out to Tyrell Sloan for the opening points. So that was a really nicely executed offensive play. But like you said, and it's an issue that plagues so many teams, not just Parramatta here today, that chemistry between centre and winger is so important defensively. You got to trust what your inside man says on the jam or hold. And unfortunately, in this case, Komalafi didn't trust the read made by Loizu, and the Eels pay the price for it.
Well, look, when you see a play like that, it was almost telegraphing that pass was going to come, because the jam from the winger was, the timing of it was just completely wrong.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Falolo absolutely flat-footed coming across and cover on the flying Sloan. Not much you can do there when you're running so far left to right or east to west, whichever you want to call it. It's so hard to make that cover tackle, mate.
mate, you're always, if you're coming across in cover with a winger running down at that sort of angle, you know that the odds are that you're going to overrun.
Yeah, you're 1 in 100 to make the tackle,
Oh, yeah.
honestly. As the extras are added from just to the left, the uprights, unsurprisingly. St. George Illawarra had the early lead here, 6-0. We've got about half an hour left in the first half, so put that try scored down in the 4th minute, conversion in the 5th. Eels need to rally here, mate.
Mate, it almost feels like an "I told you so" moment. Where
Very
I was
much
talking
so.
about, I was talking about the Eels era and hoping that it wasn't going to be costly. And again, it's to use a bit of the pun, as deja vu all over again. As we witnessed in the New South Wales Cup, so are we witnessing in the Jersey Flegg. An error, and it's punished as we see the Dragons playing the ball, first tackle, 15 metres out from their own line.
The 5'8", Zach Herring taking that kick and then finding Matthew Nicholson for the opening carry. Dragons working it to the left where they find, I'm not sure if it's Hayden Budd out there or if it's a early sub they've made. Strong start here for the Dragons though as they get in behind the ruck, my apologies, and work it to their lock forward now. Harris, getting the ball out to halfway, tackled by Tarsi James and Luke Bain. The 5'8" Herring turning his forward inside to bring up the last. About 5 metres in Parramatta's half. They'll get an attack and kick away here if they choose so. And they're going to go for the midfield bomb as Fulolo contests it, but it's knocked on by the Dragons fairly cleanly there, allowing the Eels to recover the ball and get the 0 tackle. Right here as Fruin Easthope has a little sortie, beating the first defender. Nice carry there from the winger. Getting the Eels underway for good carry. Komalafi comes in for tackle 2, and he beats his first defender and nearly gets through the front line. Great
That
little dart.
that was a purposeful carry, that one.
Eels continue to work left. Looks like it's Farlolo at first receiver there. It is indeed the fullback taking a run of his own. As Jaden Yates continues to facilitate play to the left. Chappell looking to link up with his man outside, but it's bounced back, kicked ahead by the Dragons. They've got a chance here to scoop up the ball, but that is a very fortunate bounce for the Blue and Gold. They'll get a fresh set of 6 on the back of that error from them, but the toe ahead from the Dragons, and they get off the hook there big time.
Well, that was a misdirected pass. It seemed to come off the shoulder of the Eels player.
Yeah, Chappell and Tateo looking to link up there, and Chappell just putting it behind his back rower. Thankfully, the Eels dodge it as Fruin Easthope comes in for another carry. The winger getting heavily involved early on. You like to see that from year 2 and 5, mate. Right now for the Eels, well, it was going to go right, but Jaden Yates says, no, I'll take it myself after a dummy. Beats the initial defender, dragged down, so a tackle bust there for the dummy half before he's tackled on halfway. Eels do play right as Luke Bain plays at first receiver, dummying to his right, and then finding Ollie Clements on the double pump. Clements tackled about 12 metres into the Dragons' half. The referee says that is the last tackle. What's your play going to be? And the Eels will go to Massima, who sends up an end-over-end bomb midfield. And the Dragons, they made a very late decision to play at that. So credit to them for at least playing at the ball, but they've left it way too long to play at it, and they've sort of dived at the ball and spilt it, and the referees quickly pulled it up for a dead ball, knock on, Parramatta feed. 20 metres out centre field, mate. That is just awful.
It's like there is the Bermuda Triangle
It's definitely
that's within that corridor.
Both grades. I don't know what it is. From centre field to just in front of the stand here, no one wants a part of the balls to go up there. And it's not like they're difficult kicks. So
I don't think I've seen a day of multiple matches where you were seeing the. Hang on, there's a
win against the feed here. I have no idea what's happened for the Eels there, but the Dragons have stolen
that was actually a fair income win against the feed, because the Eels won the strike, and then the Dragons front row or dummy half, or hooker, I'm not sure who, could actually reach through with their foot and rake the ball back.
Hooked it back. So well done to the Dragons there. We talk about heads up footy, mate. That's a prime example there. So the tight head for the red and white as they carry the ball into Parramatta's half now with a couple of tackles to spare. Parramatta have rallied defensively pretty well, all things considering. Their dummy half, Mulson makes a nice carry, breaking 1 or 2 tackles before linking up with his halfback, Dentori Louis, who heads back infield and is eventually wrapped up. Big gains there late in the account to get them on the attack. And Mulson will play right to his 5'8", who dummies, and then is wrapped up nicely with a ball and all tackle there by Josh Chappell, if I'm not mistaken. Playing to the right edge short side on the last. They'll kick ahead, battered down by Easthope, who was then plucked out of the air by the big Jaden Skinner, and the Eels will get off the hook there with a little bit of luck, I suppose, on that batted ball.
That was a huge slice of luck, mate, because the hand's gone up to try and touch the ball, stop it from getting out to the winger, and it's fortunately the ball has rebounded back towards the Eels line where they were able to clean up. It wasn't a knock on, it was a knock back.
Komalafi on tackle free, and we have another strong carry.
Has Komalafi got bigger, man?
He's definitely filled out, I suppose, by the way I say it, as Tarsi James, it looks like, getting down that right edge, throws a defender off, gets through, linking up with Failolo on support, who splits the line, comes to the fullback. There's covered defenders everywhere, but that is a huge play by both Failolo and Tarsi James, setting up the last tackle about 35 minutes out from the line as he was going to tackle with Massima, run the ball to Josh Chappell down the left, who has to dummy, go back in field and roll it back towards the line. That's not a terrible kick. Not going to get a line dropout, but the Dragons will field the ball about 3 minutes off the line as Eels make huge inroads late in the set and flip the field position on the back of a huge play by Tarsi James.
And, mate, that was the best possible kick that Chappell could have put in. He literally was able to thread the needle to get the ball as close to the try line as possible without giving away easy possession to the Dragons.
As the right centre, James Schiller, gets involved for the Dragons, he has a bit of a lunge after the tackle's completed to get the play, advance to play the ball, and the ref says, none of that, mate. Get back and play it on the mark. And he does just that as play gets back underway. The Dragons centering the ball with their number 12, which is Shalom Ofo'u. And then number 8, Spicer, getting the ball near halfway for the last. And they'll go end over end themselves. Doesn't go too far north as Phil Neeshope with another really nice over-the-shoulder catch there under immense pressure. Eels a very favourable field position here. Easthope marking the ball about 10 metres short of halfway. But Falolo is absolutely moored on the next tackle by the set defensive line because the kick didn't travel too far downfield. Luke Bain hands up as he receives the ball. You like to see that from a forward, mate. Minimising the opportunity to get it bounced off the chest.
Yeah, the Dragons seem to have muscled up reasonably well in this set because in 4 tackles the Eels have only come about 15 metres.
Bain involved again this set as is Tarsi James. Eels going about 10 metres into 20 metres into the Dragons' half, getting to their kick. This will be a non-contested bomb, but a good chase from Matthew Komalafi traps him about 2 metres off the line. And it wasn't a brilliant set by any means, but a nice finish, mate, puts the Dragons under pressure.
And the kick, unfortunately, was landed outside the twilight zone, outside the Bermuda Triangle.
Kicking it to the far side of the field where that player car park is, as the Dragons rally midway through the set. This is a really strong carry. Who's that? Trying to get a jersey number there, but for the Dragons, that is a very strong carry. And it's the left winger, the try scorer Sloan, my apologies, who has a great carry to get them somewhat out of trouble. And the Eels will muscle up and force them to kick from about 15 metres short of halfway. So a good defensive set on the back of that Polish kick from the Eels. And they're going to stab it low from their halfback. And it's no risk of a 40-20 here. Takes a break back towards the sideline. And the referee will mark it 30 metres out from Parramatta's line. The Eels will go centre field for the play the ball. Should we play the ball, right, 60s?
Yeah. Found touch, play the ball, centre field.
The halfback, Dontori Louis there for the Dragons finding touch as Komalafi gets another involvement on the first tackle. That is another quality run as he drags defenders forward.
That was literally 8 metres post-contact.
Yeah, for about 11 or 12 metre gain, 8 of which was post-contact. It looks like Samuel Loizu jumping out of dummy half there.
Another strong carry from him.
Eels will work it left. Massima at first receiver, finding Tarsi James. Finding Phil Easthope for a similar haircut to Tarsi James from this angle. Phil Easthope coming early, coming infield for some work. Now it's going to be Mark Tepu-Smith with a strong carry. Looking
for that offload.
Yeah, I thought maybe he managed to hold on to it, but no. The referee has spied a little about that one. I think that's a fair call. Tepu-Smith trying to promote the football there, having second thoughts, and unfortunately pulled the trigger. Yeah,
and any time that the ball makes contact with the opposition player, you're at risk of the referee calling a knock on or a lost ball, and that's what happened there because he's looked for the offload. The ball as he's turned the ball back, the ball's is still in his hand, but it's made contact with the player that was tackling him. So the referee's deemed that the ball's only stayed in his hand.
As the referee shows some good reflexes to catch the pass from the Parramatta player.
For people who missed that, it was the ball was unexpectedly hurled back towards the referee at the scrum.
The Dragons hadn't claimed the ball for their feed, so the Eels passed it as the Dragons make a half break and turn that into nearly a full break there as their left edge again coming to life. Eels scrambling this time to ball down Louis in support. Sorry, it wasn't Louis. That would have been the right back row. Louis now taking the carry, centering the ball somewhat for the Dragons. They're loaded up to the right and they're going to play that way to their bookend. Matthew Nicholson, who's just going to centre it. Nothing fancy there. Had an opportunity to perhaps spread the ball and attack the Eels' left edge, but choosing to set up for another play later. As Mulson jumps out of dummy half, dummies and is tackled, bringing up the last. I assume the Dragons will play right here as our lock forward plays to Louis, who's going to roll the ball ahead, but Clayton Falolo is in position to clean it up, and the Eels will get the ball back.
Mate, that was a very tidy pick up there by Fualo, especially with the pressure that was on him. Rolling ball.
Eels driven back here. Strong defence by the Dragons early on, led by their lock forward Harris Georgopoulos, sorry. Doing it tough this set, playing it down there right. Odds of seeing an early clearing kick is a possibility here as Komalafi has another involvement and again continues to impress. That is a fantastic work rate and effectiveness of work rate, mate.
Probably only 6 metres post-contact that time.
Yeah, slacking just a little bit, but it helps get the Eels somewhat out of danger as Luke Bain brings up the last, getting Parramatta out about 39 metres off their line. They'll play right to Massima. Good chance of finding finding space on the Griff winger Sloan, who then heads back into the defensive line and will be tackled 22 metres out from his line. So not a bad result, all things considering.
No, but at this stage, what breeze is there is definitely favouring the Eels. It does seem to have lightened off a bit to what it was earlier today, but it still favours the Eels. So for the Dragons to be ahead at the moment, that's a very good position.
Jumps out of dummy half down the left edge for a solid gain. Dragons bring it right via their prop Nicholson, who is met equally by the middle forwards of the Parramatta Eels. Tackled about 5 metres, line up to their right, finding Spicer at first receiver, the prop forward, taken into the line, looking for an offload. Rower, number 11 is Blake Dow, who will go into the defensive line where he is met by Ollie Clements, bringing up the last, and the Dragons will play to the left edge short side, and that will be it because they run it. And I'm not sure if they realised it was the last there, mate.
It was a strange ending to the set, and given that they've turned it over only just inside the Eels quarter, you'd have to suggest they didn't realise it.
Yeah, it looks like there were some players putting hands up there, not as certain as to what the tackle count probably should have been. And the Eels get off the hook, obviously. Playing it left now on the second to Matthew Komalafi, and he's going to tear into the middle forwards there, continuing to drive his legs. And Matt probably this game limited to just a modest gain as Chappell, first receiver, shifts the ball out to his left centre in Jaden Skinner.
Would you go an early kick, mate?
I would definitely think about an early kick here. There's only just a fullback back, which means there's territory either side, left and right, for him to exploit. And the Eels might be thinking that as, Jaden Yates does see the space. He's going to drive it downfield, find the carpet, roll it towards the in goals, and the ball will be marked about a metre out from the goal line by the fullback towards the in goals. And the ball will be marked about a metre out from the goal line by the fullback, Torrey Stewart. And that is a great result by the dummy half, Jaden Yates there, mate. Good vision, good execution.
I thought the great vision was for me, mate.
Well, to be fair, you did call it. So, maybe Jaden Yates heard you whispering from up here, I suppose.
Well, look, the game was just being played in... as we just see the Dragons receiving a penalty for the Eels holding down in the play the ball. There's just too much of the play that's being played down at Parramatta's end of the field for a team that has the advantage of the breeze. The Dragons have managed to get territorially far more advantage than they should be afforded.
We've passed the halfway mark in the first half. There's 16.5 minutes left in the first stanza. Dragons now pushing out of their half. They find Tuck Rower Dow into the defensive line for the Parramatta Eels. Dragons stacked out to their right edge here, and they will go that way. No, shape to go that way, but turn left as the dummy half, Mulinson links up with his left centre. Back now to the right as the prop forward, Matthew Nicholson, takes Dragons well into Parramatta's half. Met there strongly, I'd say, trying to James Schiller, who's going to link up with right centre James Schiller, who plays it to the sideline, allowing opening a channel for his inside support runner to get to his left, dragging the Parramatta fullback Falolo all the way out wide and beaten the cover defenders to see the Dragons score. And we have to wait for a number here on the try scorer because that's part of our obstructive view there, mate.
And unfortunately for the Eels, the try scorer has also been able to centre the ball for the kick from in front. This is the problem when you play a compact defence, is that if you're going to allow that ball to be spread, you can't slide with it, expect trouble. And that's exactly what happened as the Dragons spread the ball to their right, to the Eels' left. They had a two-man overlap, if anything, on that side. And
it was pretty much a two-man overlap by the time they'd spread the ball. Left edge of the Eels had incorrectly calculated, obviously, the distance to jam.
And the Dragons player was far too fast for the cover defence of Josh Chappell. By the time the Eels custodian was across in cover, the support was coming up on the inside. Who was the fellow that made the break there for the Dragons?
James Schiller made the break and then showed a good bit of nous to work it towards the sideline, opening up the channel for, I'm not sure if it was the winger Alexander Lobb or the fullback Trey Stewart, or maybe one of the halves that was pushing from support. We'll have to wait for the NSWRL confirmation, but a well-worked open field play there by the Dragons, as the dummy half, Mulenson, is going to take his approach in just a second from directly in front.
At this stage, you'd have to say that the Dragons' attack looks a lot sharper than the Eels' attack.
They're certainly executing and showing the ball midfield and take their opportunities. So the Eels have generated some offensive play but haven't been able to hold on to the ball, or at least defensively they've given away a lot of opportunities, haven't they, in terms of penalties and six-agains.
I'd also suggest that the Dragons play the balls a lot faster than the Eels play the ball.
On average, for certain, yeah. Mulenson taking his sweet time from directly in front here. He will take his approach now and, lo and behold, raises the flags. The Dragons are up ahead 12-0. We've had about, if I do my maths here, 22 minutes played in the first half. So just under 22 minutes played in the first half. We now have 13 and a half left to play.
In these conditions, mate, the Eels, I think they need to strike back before half-time.
I think that's a fair assessment. They don't want to let the momentum of this game get out of hand. And we know that you can have big swings and roundabouts in the 20s we talked about in the preview or the preamble for this game. But at the same time, you don't want to have to force the comeback in terms of miracles. And it was Trey Stewart that scored. So we predicted the support play correctly there, mate. As the Dragons have a strong carry here up the middle. Oh, bit of nasty contact defensive there as Josh Chappell rolls out the contact. And that's the right edge back roll for the Red V. Which is Shalom Ofo, as Muleson plays it to his prop forward Spicer, taking the Dragons out to halfway for tackle in hand. They're going to play it to their left now. Oh, as number 14, Ben Aaron, nearly grasses that ball, Parramatta's half, and the 5'8", Zach Herring, Falolo's underneath it, takes tackled maybe 17 metres off Parramatta's goal line, centre field. Eels working it to their right, finding Matthew Komalafi, who has another strong carry. Komalafi being a real shining light for the Eels in this early exchange. There as the play the ball is treacle slow, but Luke Bain going into the defensive line. That's not Luke Bain, that's Samuel Loizu. Strong carry there from the centre. Eels continue to work left as Fruin Easthope comes infield for a carry.
Yeah, I liked as I said, the physicality of Loizu last week, and he's delivering again today. That is Caleb Towie at first receiver down the left edge, shaping up there. Immense pressure on the last by the Chasers and gets the ball back to Chappell, who sends up a hook and be marked pretty comfortably by Sound in a cattle dog tackle by Jaden Yates, and they're going to say the kick chase was offside. Yeah. Kick on the back of some second phase footy, so a bit of ill discipline costing the Eels here. And we'll have to wait and see whether they can hold on, because the last penalty saw the Dragons keep coming back to, and the Eels, just like we saw in the New South Wales Cup, where both teams paid a high price for errors, so too are we seeing Eels paying a price for errors. Dragons, though, are still their end of the field, 30 metres out, so let's see if the Eels can muscle up in defence.
A relatively modest touch finder by the 5'8" Herring gets the ball out to the Dragons' 30-metre mark. They'll tap and go, finding their number 8 Spicer for the first tackle. Herring then has a dummy and carry himself centre away. Dragons with numbers either side here can play left or right, choosing the dummy left and go right, finding the other prop forward Matthew Nicholson, who was well met by the Eels. Dragons now fighting their way in the Parramatta's half. Fast play the ball by for Muleson, but the markers are in position to make the tackle. Referee not inclined to give a 6 again, as he shouldn't. That was good positioning by the markers there.
And a good call for the referee, because it seems that so many get suckered in that if there's a quick tackle by the marker that they must be offside.
That's right.
Whereas sometimes it's the option that's taken by the dummy half.
Exactly, and that's the case it was. Muleson thinking that he had a relatively quick play the ball, but the markers were set and just ran straight into the Parramatta defenders, and he's come out of it a little bit banged up here. Ref has signalled time off, and the trainer is out in attendance.
Given the all clear, mate.
Quickly given the all clear, and...
Hang on. No.
So...
How does that...
no touches come onto the field to give him advice there. So the referee has just waited. It was playing on initially, and the referee has changed his mind without the advice of a sideline official and said that it's high contact. So another penalty for the Dragons.
Is it high contact or crusher?
He went contact. So another penalty for the Dragons.
Is it high contact or crusher?
He signalled high contact. So quick tap for the Dragons. They played down their right edge to the centre. James Schiller, who was tackled very close to the sideline and very close to the try line in equal measure. They'll bring the ball back left field to centre it. And I'm just trying to catch, plays it from dummy half. And the Dragons have an interchange of passes, taking the ball back out to that right centre, James Schiller, who has met ball camped in that right edge corner now as they work it left to the right edge back rower. Is brought down by the Eels. Now it is coming left to the halfback, Louis, who plays long left, and it's intercepted by Matthew Komalafi. Geez, that one was telegraphed, wasn't it?
I'm grateful to the footy gods in that instance.
They kicked it in behind. Obviously, Komalafi banking on the ball coming via pass, and he is rewarded for the read. But he took a bit of a gamble there, and it paid off as Ollie Clements gets the Eels out to the 40-metre mark, followed by Tarsi James.
Also, look, after all of the penalty, when it seemed like he was just looking at what sort of injury the Dragons player has suffered. But we're now on the 5th tackle. Eels 5 metres into the Dragons half.
Luke Bain bringing up that tackle with a Chappell, which is allowed to bounce for the fullback Trey Stewart, who will take it to 20-metre mark. So tremendous kick from Josh Chappell under duress there, but the kick chase didn't quite get there in time to pin him deep in their red zone, instead trapping him 20 metres out.
And with his 12 points to nil,
red zone, instead trapping him 20 metres out.
And with his 12 points to nil lead for the Dragons, with just over 8 minutes of play left in the first half, as I mentioned, I really believe that the Eels need to be getting on the board before half. Conditions here with a strong breeze behind the Eels in the first half. It'll be behind the Dragons in the second half as the Dragons advance the ball to the halfway mark.
Tarsi James and Ollie going out right to Shalom there. A good one-on-one tackle by the Skinner. Brings up the last, and the Dragons will dab it in behind through an East Hope, looking to find the in-goals. They do so as Follow cleans it up on the third or fourth bounce and gets back out. I was going to say about 10 metres out, but he's driven back once he's met by the defensive line. Eels work it right to Fruin East Hope. It beats the first man, gets a bit of space, Phil, from where he's usually taking care of duties for a very strong gain to get the Eels 30 metres out. What an effort there from the left winger to get out right. As Komalafi bursts into the backfield, he's come to the fullback, finds Follow on support. 2 Dragons will bring him down. That's the 5'8" in Zach Herring, who makes a huge cover tackle. Bit of a push down the play, but the referee says no, play on. Massimo at first receiver finds Josh Chappell, who will play it out to Caleb Towie. Takes the line, basketball pass to Jaden Skinner, but it's a bit too much there from Towie. Skinner can't bring it in. The ball is marked out 15 metres from the Dragons try line. What a huge run from back-to-back runs from the wingers East Hope and Komalafi there, creating something out of nothing. And you talk about getting sets started in the right fashion, and those two have been tremendous so far.
Now, I know Komalafi did the right thing in finding support on the inside. There was just a part of me was thinking, take on the fullback, mate. Let's see what we can do. A little in and away. Go to the outside.
Yeah, he played the percentages there, and it was the right play. He's not going to be chastised being the coach.
No. As I said, he absolutely did the right thing there. I just would have liked to have seen Matthew out in open space.
As driving defense from Jaden Yates and Luke Bain puts the Dragons back to the 20-metre mark, couple tackles into this set, and that's banged up the prop forward Spicer there, who is slow to play the ball. Nicholson will help his running mate in the front row, the 4th tackle here. Eels defending strongly this set with over 5.5 minutes left in this half. Dragons fighting their way out 11 metres short of halfway, and referee says he's still got a tackle to spare here, which I thought I must have miscounted there. My apologies. And they will get the ball at the halfway on the last, allowing them to set up for a midfield bomb to the 5'8" Herring, who just drills a messy kick. Did that take a hand off a defender there? Trying to keep track of what's happening here. Referee has not signalled 6 again. Or has he? No, he has not signalled 6 again. The Eels have stripped the ball. Another strong carry. Just driving through post contact. This is a fantastic game, haven't you, mate?
Mate, the strongest games that I've seen Komalafi play.
As the Eels work to their left via the left centre, Jaden Skinner. Bit of 4.5 minutes left in the first half. It looks like they've brought in some substitutes there. Number 15's on the field, Jonte Junior Befamiza. As Ollie Clemens bursts into the backfield on a short ball from about 35 metres. Score down the far right side, mate.
I do have some question marks on the pass.
There was some contentious calls by the defenders there saying might have been a smidgen forwards, but Clemens has played to the whistle, take it for a ride to the try line.
Mate, might just have been. I believe that burst through and got the offload away to
Ollie
Clements for that try. Really good to see Ollie and just overpowering him in the run.
Sometimes it's just better to tuck the ball and say, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah. And again, that's not any criticism of Komalafi finding support, because he 100% did the right thing. But as 40 just indicated there, sometimes you like to see the player take on the fullback and just see what's possible. So now we've got the kick for goal.
Is Kyle Schneider on there? Because he was off the bench. Does that look
that's
like...
him. That's him
taking
taking
like
the
Kyle
kick now. That's very much his style.
Working in relief for dummy half for Jaden Yates. Not sure if Yates has dropped back to lock forward or is on the bench. We can't see from our vantage point here. But, Eels with a bit of luck there. Like you said, 60's a borderline call for certain on that pass from Bain to Clements, but you ride the whistle and sometimes those goes against you and sometimes they go in your favour as Schneider takes that staccato approach to his kick and has done a very good effort from out wide, raising the touch judge's flags and narrowing the margin to just 6 with under 3 minutes to play in the first half. You said they had the score in the first half, mate, and they heard you and they obliged.
And, mate, would have seemed to have been a rather fortuitous substitution with bringing
very timely
Kyle Schneider onto the field just before.
I wonder who kicks in the event that Kyle's off. Maybe Failolo, or Massimo.
Has Loizu been known
Loizu has had a few shots in his past as the kickoff is absolutely shanked by the Dragons. It's barely gotten 30 metres and has sailed well into touch down their left edge.
2 minutes before half time. This could be just what the Eels need coming into half time. If they can manage to pull back more points here, that is absolutely will be a crucial error that the Dragons have made.
As Massima is centre field at halfway, and he's going to take the touch finder, and he's out. He jumped from the touch judge has absolutely butchered that. The Dragons player has jumped from well outside the field of play.
I am trying my best not to call out.
He's jumped from about 3 metres outside the field of play and batted the ball back. As the parochial home crowd bays its displeasure, understandably so. Like 60 said, he's holding himself back there.
Anyone that knows what
Flegg boy.
Mate.
The Dragons get...
And I'm in a prime position in our location here. This was right underneath us.
Yeah. You talk about swings and roundabouts. The Eels obviously profiteering off a borderline call on a forward pass or non-forward pass call last set, and then absolutely hammered by a terrible miss by the touchy and the main official there. Dragons now on the attack with under a minute left. They're going to send up a bomb from about 35 metres up from Parramatta's goal line, and the Eels will defuse it calmly. I believe it's Failolo underneath. I can't really see the action from our viewpoint here, but they will have just about 40 seconds left, to survive.
But let's be honest, mate, that was an ordinary kick for touch at a crucial time.
Yeah, he didn't get all of it. It did sail well into touch eventually, but like you said, it gave him the opportunity to make that play, although illicit as it may have been. With now 25 seconds left, the Eels are just playing one-out football. Understandably so, probably don't want to turn the ball over deep in their half here. Maybe they might fire a shot now with a tackle to spare as they play right to Jonte Junior Befamiza. Nice little bit of footwork there from the big man. thinks about flicking the ball at the back, but holds onto it, bringing up the last. And on the last, they'll play to Massima, who's just going to send up a midfield bomb. I don't know about that one, given how things have been in this game. They let it bounce. The Eels will clean it up, or try to clean it up as they knock on. The Dragons knock on, sorry. It looks like Louis, the halfback, competing for the ball with Ollie Clements, the try scorer for the Eels. Louis knocking the ball into touch, and that will bring an end to the first half. Parramatta Eels will trail 12-6 here at halftime, but that's a pretty good result, all things considering, after that start from the Red V,
Mate, just looking at the flow of the game there, and I don't know if you see this the same way as I do. I thought the Dragons played as a team in that first half, and I thought the Eels were a little too much relying on individuals to get something started there.
Yeah, the Dragons, you mentioned earlier, having the run of fast play the balls that really set up their early work on a platter, allowing them to play left and right with impunity at times in that first quarter of play. Eels did rally somewhat to narrow the margin, but like you said, it came off the back of some individual work. The wingers in particular have been tremendous for the Blue and Gold. I want to give a shout out to Phron Easthope and Matthew Komalafi, both of which have just been tremendous. So much work and so much quality work. Komalafi making a huge line break that didn't result in a try, but did flip the field position, leading to the Eels scoring a few sets later.
Well, mate, after my early criticism of Komalafi for leaving the wing exposed when he jammed in a little bit too early when Samuel Loizu, strength of his carries, which I'd like to see his total post-contact metres at the moment. Because
unfortunately, we don't get access to Jersey Flegg stats, numbers, but yeah, geez, the post-contact from both wingers, but especially Komalafi, has been out of this world. He has just been carrying middle defenders, not just edge defenders, but middle defenders.
He made. Would he have been credited with the post-contact that was coming before he burst into the clear, because he was carrying some defenders before he suddenly burst through the line? Let's put him down for 40 metres post-contact on that.
Yeah, we'll mark him down for about 40. There you go. But yeah, we're at oranges right now. Parramatta Eels do trail 12-6. Tries trail 12-6. Tries. Oh, excuse me. As lunch comes back to haunt me there. Try scorers for the Dragons were the left winger Tyrell Sloan and the fullback Trey Stewart, with Connor Mulson adding 2 from 2 from in front. For the Eels, Ollie Clements got them on the board with a block-busting carry down the right edge under some dubious circumstances on the ball that got to him in space. But Schneider doing a very good job from out wide to add the extras in, I will say, challenging conditions, regardless of the winds with you or against you out at Ringrose Park today. Leaving the Eels trailing by 6 with 35 minutes to play. Kickoff in the second half will be back shortly, but we'll have a bit of a yarn in between here and then, mate, to spring an upset.
Mate, it'll be an upset if they can manage to get back into this game. When I say get back into this game, scoreboard-wise it is, but they're going to be facing the elements in the second half. For the Dragons to have a 6-point lead in the first half, when they've been running into what has been quite a strong breeze that's been blowing here at Ringrose Park all afternoon, they've done it. They're going to be really, really happy, the Dragons, with that sort of scoreline at halftime. Obviously disappointed they let that try in within those last few minutes of the first half. The Eels, on the other hand, I think they need to find something more than just the strength of some individual players out there. They need to find some combinations somehow. New halfback in Josh Chappell. I don't know that he's necessarily found his feet there. I don't know that he's found his rhythm within the team constructs at the moment. It's his first game there. It almost looks like there's an unfamiliarity with it.
Yeah, it's always going to take him some time. It's not easy to come in and manage a team, let alone a team where you're a year or two young. And for Chappell, coming off that nagging leg injury, he's been fighting to get fit, and I think he'll definitely be better moving forwards. But he hasn't been awful by any means. So. No.
This isn't a knock. But
no. Yeah,
but it's very much, I think, an explanation as to why things haven't quite gelled.
Haven't been running like clockwork by any means.
Yeah. The combinations just aren't happening there. The Eels, I don't even know if you'd call it a clunkiness in their attack, because, again, it's probably a lot more one out than anything else. And
they haven't really put on any sweeping backline movements or any means like that. They've just, like you said, been looking to some of their hard runners, Tarsi James in the front row. Obviously, the two wingers have been tremendous in that regard. And they've been, playing a bit of smash mouth footy in that capacity. But it would be like to see him to not put on a show in the second half, but maybe be a little bit more explorative.
Well, it's not like those players aren't making inroads, but as I said, it just feels like they are a notch behind the Dragons in terms of attack. Obviously, the scoreboard indicates that to be so, but even if the scores were 0-0 at this point in time, just based on the play, I'd say that the Dragons have been offering a little bit more in attack than what the Eels have. So we'll need to see, if you're behind on the scoreboard, obviously you're going to need to see a bit more from the Eels in that regard.
And we just are checking out the live scores from the NRL here and noted that the Canberra Raiders have come back to pip the Dogs 20-18. But the run of, I suppose, questionable officiating policies continues as the Raiders had Jack White and Simbin and Josh Papali'i sent off in the 53rd and 60th minute respectively, and they still won. So the insane run of send-offs and Simbins continues as the Volandis-led crackdown on high shots and cynical six-agains continues. And it's been I know last night they were talking about on social media that a lot of players were quite upset. I know that the hectic cheese and whatnot and Harry Grant were on Twitter complaining that it's not football they want to be involved in, I believe.
I don't blame them. To me, it's a knee-jerk reaction.
Clearly a knee-jerk reaction. The problem is that if they'd correctly stamped out serious contact to the head like we saw in round 2 with Felice Kafusi, sort of jackknifing Ryan Madison in the head, it wouldn't have been an issue. This whole thing would never have eventuated because they would have been nipping it in the bud before it got to a real front.
I just don't understand the lack of understanding about what is intentional contact with the head and what is incidental contact with the head or accidental contact with the head,
in a
either.
Game being played at manic paces by incredibly fit individuals that still fatigue. And, there's going to be incidental contact at the head. And, we talked about the responsibility of the onus on the ball carrier to present a tackleable target on the tip sheet. And that was raised by Isaac Luke too, in terms of, James Tedesco's running style. And I dread to see how many Cowboys might get sin bin tonight, mate.
Oh, look, I'm sure Ricky Stewart will have a bit to say over, obviously, the Raiders.
He'll be happy
losing
with the
those
win,
players.
but the Stewie Sticky's always good for a blow-up at a press conference.
Can you imagine if they had lost?
I mean, credit to the Raiders for the comeback. Down 2 players for a long stint in the back end of the game, they managed to engineer a victory from behind as the Eels come back onto the field, and they'll be kicking off in the second half, running towards the cricket fields, away from the clubhouse.
But just before we get the play underway, and just further to these, the sin bins and now the send-offs, we're making this without actually we're making these comments without seeing the incidents as they were involved.
Yeah,
however,
we had access to the Friday night.
Based on what we saw, look, I don't. The Broncos are a bad enough team without them playing with 11 players. So I don't want to. I don't want to see that sort of football.
I could cop the Ricky sin bin. I thought that was fair enough forceful contact by the head to justify the bin. But geez, the Tyson Gamble tackle.
If that's going to be the yardstick on which high tackles that deserve a sin bin are going to be dismissed, mate, we're going to see teams down to 9 or 10 players.
Yeah,
and I think there's already a backlash. You said that we want to see contact, intentional contact with the head rubbed out.
And absolutely hammer the people that do that.
Oh, look.
They should have given Kafusi 8+ weeks. Make an example of them.
If you don't want contact, occasional contact with the head accidental, then put the Velcro straps on the side of their hips and let's play league tag. As the Eels have just kicked off and the Dragons have the ball just outside their quarter.
Kyle Schneider drives it down to the far corner from our vantage point, the Dragons' right edge as it may be. And they get underway with some driving defense from the hyphen and Luke Bain, it looks like. Geez, they've put him back a good 10 metres
He's given him 6 again, mate, for that.
And now
he's followed up with the penalty. Now that's ridiculous. You had the momentum of the tackle going. The referee starts screaming while the momentum of the tackle is driving the players backwards. They're not just going to drop off the tackle at that point in time. And then he's doubled down with the penalty. Mate, I'm furious with a penalty like that.
So a huge early running, tap and go. The left centre Hayden Budd finding his halfback Louis, who then turns the left edge back rower, Blake Dow, into the defence. Dragons now centering the ball. As I continue to have lunch repeat on me, rather embarrassingly. Number 17's into the game, that's Blake Barbudo. He has a run from dummy half and is met by the Eels strongly in defence. Lights are on, the sun has gone down, so it's going to be some tricky catches here, mate, as the Dragons nearly split the Eels up the middle, but thankfully the Eels scramble, and it looks like Jonte Jr. making the tackle there, saving the Eels some blushes. They work left to Louis, who turns it back inside to one of his forwards, and that might be Bryce Magnomi, but I'm not 100% certain that one, sorry. Working left to Louis now, who kicks it ahead, and this is a very well-weighted kick for the flying chasers, and the Eels are not in position to defuse it, and the Dragons are going to strike first on the back of that rather frustrating penalty early on, mate.
Mate, we talk about the impact of errors, and I'm going to say that that was a refereeing error. I'm sorry, I can't call it any other way. I thought it was a harsh call. It was a very strong defensive set that was the Eels were working towards. Don't get me wrong, you got to defend your errors, but that was a momentum shifting call very early on in the half. I didn't like it. I said I didn't like it when it happened. For those trying to get a mental picture, the Eels defenders were driving at full pace. They were literally at a running speed
when you
fast.
see one of those truly dominant defensive drive backs, and the referee decided to call held late in the piece and then quickly go 6 again into a penalty, which the Dragons have then prospered from. Good bit of vision and execution from the halfback, Dontare Louis, who kicked the head for, I'm not sure, I don't believe it was Trey Stewart. It might have been one of his inside, I'm trying to think, inside back perhaps. Maybe it was the centre. We'll have to wait for official confirmation from the New South Wales Rugby League. But this is a very kickable conversion now, as the dummy half Mulson has been relieved of duties wherever he's on the bench, I imagine, with the winger for the Dragons in number 5 taking his approach. And that is Alexander Lobb, who we saw in the SG Ball earlier this year, 60s. And he has shot that one to the left, and the Dragons can only secure the 4 of the 6 points from that try. So Dragons do lead now 16-6. There's been 3 minutes played in the second half, with the Eels now kicking off. Yeah,
the Eels are going to need to defend an awful lot better than that, because, as I said, I regarded that as a refereeing error, but then the Eels doubled down by not being able to defend against, if we want to call it an Eels defensive error where the referee penalised them. Oh, look, we just had another call there. We could hear the referee call and hold as the Eels were driving the Dragons back. They're not allowing...
Not generating momentum from a dead start, and it's allowed the Dragons to get a quick play the ball and get away from their red zone. So the Eels are going to have to make some sort of adjustment here defensively, because the referee's not giving them much to work with. Dragons a big shift to their left edge, but well read by Samuel Loiser there, who engages his opposition centre strongly and makes the tackle. Dragons will work it back centre field to their right, where the big hyphen Jonte Jr. Betham-Meza gets involved defensively. Numbers now for the right, perhaps the right here. Eels pushing out now. It's a very slow play. The ball has the Dragons baying for a 6 again, but it's not forthcoming. Eels will rally defensively here and make the tackle. Jonte Jr. involved again. Bring up the last about 3 or 4 metres short of halfway. Dragons work it right to their 5'8" Herring, who will send up the midfield bomb towards Falolo. He centres himself under it, takes it cleanly, thinks about passing the Komalafi across field, but will take it himself for about a 5 or 6 metre gain. Eels working back onside here. It's a slow play. The ball. Are we going to get a penalty here now? It's Falolo has been hurt here, and the referee has signalled time off after initially indicating a play the ball.
Well, if he has a problem with his head or neck, and that's exactly what happened earlier today with the penalty that came on the back of the Dragons player holding the head and neck. Clayton
down for an up. He's on his back here, sorry. Been attended by the trainer. No real indication as to what the issue is, but it's not holding his leg or anything by that, so it doesn't look like it's a serious lower leg injury. Maybe it was high contact that's been missed. Potentially, but I don't think there's any penalty coming the Eels' way, just judging from there's no conversations that are going on with the Dragons players. Is he now looking at his leg? It is really hard to tell, but the lighting is not the greatest here at the moment with the sun down. The trainer, is he attending his hip or what? Very difficult to tell here. Both trainers are on there attending to Falolo. We obviously hope that he hasn't sustained a significant injury. He's been a very exciting part of the Flegg this year as he grows into that fullback role. And, yeah, just taking a kick return there, and he just did not get up to play the ball. He is now sitting upright at the very least.
But as Forty was just saying, it's a little bit hard to tell under the once we get into the floodlight conditions. The floodlights are probably suitable when it comes to the players playing, but when it comes to us trying to call the game, it's a little bit more challenging.
And Clayton has been, the trainer has signalled he's going to need to be substituted. Maybe it's a right ankle injury there, and he seems to be struggling to put weight on that side of his body. Be interesting to see what reshuffle the Eels have available to themselves here. Samuel Loizu, the fullback perhaps, and then you pop one of the back rows into centre.
It's possible.
Or Massima to fullback, and then put one of the back rowers or Kyle Schneider to the halves, Jaden Yates back on, and Massima the fullback perhaps.
Yeah.
So I suggested it would be Massima or Loizu who makes the shift, or the custodial shift.
I mean, it's never ideal to have multiple positional changes, but
it's that right leg
for something like this. But it's going to be hard to avoid multiple changes and have players in suitable positions now.
And so we hope nothing serious for Clayton, but he has been charioted off now, struggling to put weight on the right ankle, I think. Getting an appreciative clap from the home crowd. We're not going to be getting any injury reports today, but we'll have to stay tuned. Maybe if Joey during the week we'll be able to find out what happened to him. Like we said, hopefully it's nothing serious. Eels will get back underway with Luke Bain running into the defensive line. Jonte Jr. Bethmese in support there, but not getting the offload. But he will line up for a carry next run. It does come towards him as the SG Ball eligible player has a nice little run through post contact. Both teams seem to have gone up a gear here with the break as Caleb Towie steams into the line. Nice footwork before contact, taking the Eels into the Dragons' half with a tackle to spare. As Jaden Yates is back on the field, finding Kyle Schneider at halfback. So at the very least, that part of the reshuffle has been facilitated 60s, and I just have to say, Massima is at fullback. So as we predicted, the most logical change for the blue and gold to cover the injury to Falolo.
Mate, can I just say, it is getting colder here, and I'm going to preempt that our post-match discussion is going to be very, very rapid.
Very brief. Even if the Eels engineer a magnificent comeback, we'll have to be using the use brevity strongly, I suppose. As a nice offload from the Dragons, sees them getting the Parramatta's half, then finding Louis on a short ball at the line. Very good tackle there. Is that Kyle Schneider? No, that's Samuel Loizu there, who's made a try-saving tackle for the Eels through the middle. They play it right to the prop forward, Matthew Nicholson, who's tackled with a number of tackles to spare for the Dragons, playing it right to the far...
that's
got to be forward, surely. But no, the touch judge was behind the pass and hasn't caught it, so the long cutout pass from Zach Herring to the right winger in Alexander Lobb sees the Dragons score the second try of the second half. But, geez, that looked a long way forwards from our viewpoint.
Mate, I would say that was conservatively 4 or 5 metres forward. That is no exaggeration. You might have heard the calls of forward from people in the background. It was a bullet torpedo pass from a player who was running across field to deliver the ball, and he has absolutely rifled it 4 to 5 metres forward. Certainly from our vantage point, we're not too far away from being in line with that pass. So I've got to call it, mate. It was a bad miss.
It's been a pretty mixed bag for the referee in the second half, hasn't he?
But let's give the Dragons some credit here.
They're playing good football.
Because I said at the half-time break that the Dragons looked the most likely all through the half, that
Definitely.
their attack was in tune a lot better than the Eels, that the Eels had individuals creating opportunities. The Dragons, they were able to switch on virtually from the opening whistle. They created opportunities as a team rather than as individuals.
So that try scored to Alexander Lobb will be marked down for the 42nd minute. conversion is missed from out wide, which is not to be, which is to be expected given the conditions. The Dragons do hold a 20-6 lead with 27 minutes left in this game. Eels got to get in their bike, mate. They've got to on, and yes, probably have to overcome some tough officiating at this point in time, but that's the breaks.
Well, mate, if a team is worth their own errors or officials' errors,
correct,
and unfortunately that hasn't happened so far today. The game at the moment in this second half is being Dragons are taking good advantage of their tackle 30 metres out from their own line.
Continue to work to their right at the very least. Flat pass from dummy half there. Jeez, that was contentious. Finding the right edge back row, Shalom Ofo'u, who's been very good for the Dragons, admittedly, this game. A strong dummy half carry takes them.
I think he just called 6 again, mate.
He has, because that would have been the last tackle there. As the fullback now, Trey Stewart, gets involved through the middle. Dragons just punching it up the guts.
He did. He's called 6 again.
On the back of that 6 again call. Rather unfortunate for the Eels, but that's been the story of the second half. Dragons for prime position to take this game well away from the blue and gold. Working to their right as number 17 dummies, and then finds Herring, who passes out wide. But that's passes out wide to the right centre, James Schiller, who then links up with his winger Lob. But Lob has grasped the regulation catch there. And the cover defence was probably a close run thing, but it's been taken out of either team's hands by Lob, taking out of his own hands.
Mate, they were lucky that the error came from the Dragons there, because they were threatening again on their right, on the Eels' left, as we see the Eels hitting it up from the play the ball. They're 20 metres out from their own line first.
How that isn't a 6 again, I will not understand given what we just saw. But Eels do not get a 6 again call as the right winger Komalafi comes infield for another carry. That's another. I'm a little bit miffed here as how there is not a 6 again call forthcoming here, because the Eels are getting absolutely hammered in the ruck here, and the referee is doing nothing about it. If you allow me to don my blue and gold colours. Good run there from Jonte Jr. But from his takes the Eels out the halfway, though. He's gotten about 13 or 14 metres through the overall run there, as Jaden Yates gets out of dummy half and links up with the lock forward from the bench, Caleb Toby. Work to their left, finding Josh Chappell, who's going to send up the end over and bomb down the left edge, and Trey Stewart does a good job defusing the kick. Chance here for the Eels to muscle up defensively, but they've got to be careful because the referee has shown himself as the Dragons centre the ball on their third tackle. Looks like, thankfully, as Jaden Yates and metres short of halfway, Dragons continue off as they're met strongly by Samuel Loizu and Kyle Schneider. One tackle in hand here for the Red V as they play short and will kick ahead with a little stabbed chip kick, but it's going to be knocked on in the contest. Look like Jaden Yates getting the halfback Tentore Louis, and Louis knocking the ball forwards. So Eels off the hook here for chance to work the ball forwards. So Eels off the hook here for chance to work the ball out from their 20-metre mark, playing left to Komalafi.
And again, we've seen that the Dragons are posing plenty of questions in attack. The Eels not so much in this game. So I'm not sure we're going to see too much different in this set of 6. Maybe it's just a case advantage when it comes to territory before they're able to launch their attack. But once we're getting up towards the halfway mark, coming the Eels' way.
Good run there for the Eels. That was the left edge forward, Peter Tateo, but from dummy half, it looks like we've had an error from, is that Jaden Yates or Kyle? No. Eels, not getting much in the way of ruck love from the referee here. There's been quite a few slow play the balls that could have easily been caught up for a set restart. And unfortunately, they haven't had the discipline to withstand that and get to their kick and sort of turn the field around.
This Dragons team, possession up around halfway, they've shown in this match that they're going to make you pay. It's tonight they're in terms of attack to the Eels.
Easily a step or two ahead of the Eels in terms of offence. Eels, fortunate the referee signalled the scrum to be back there because they were giving away a very wide, breaking too early. As the Dragons will be the first time around gaining an extra 3 metres before he is pulled down by both Loizu and Schneider. Playing right now, a bit of a lob pass from the fullback Stewart. Gets to his mark eventually, and the Dragons will be tackled. As they line up to the left and right with a bit of a flying V. Playing to the right, fullback Trey Stewart for a really nice short ball, but I thought the ball it did come flying out. I had to do a double take there because the players were carrying on like the tackle was still going. The ball's come flying out. Massimus cleaned it up and the Eels will get possession as Komalafi has another carry into the teeth of the defence. Looking to promote the ball there, but the opportunity isn't really bunched here for the end. Or maybe the first. I'm not sure if the referee did signal 6 again there. A 0 tackle count. Big Tarsi James who steams into the defensive line. Good carry from the big man there. He's had another quality game here. Hope we can help the Eels get moving forwards here as Toei goes in behind the ruck. Eels with a couple of tackles left here in the set.
Oh, they got a 6 again.
Finally got a 6 again as Toei's interfered with trying to get up. Chance here to narrow the margin for a little bit of calm heads. Hopefully they'll prevail to take the Eels into the red zone. Looks like Carl Schneider's at dummy half here. Weaves in behind the markers. Some offside defenders there managed to get back in time to make the tackle. Jaden Yates at dummy half now, playing to the left, finding Caleb Toei, who's going to show some footwork for the line. Rush past a couple of defenders there. Nice footwork for the line, but pretty soft defence. It
fits in with what was happening in the first half, where an individual created the opportunity themselves. So we've had Toei he's gone in next to the post. It was, as you've pointed out, that the Eels hadn't been the beneficiary of 6 again. In that instance,
get the 6 again, mate.
20 points to 12. We've got just under 20 minutes for the Eels from here, because we're not further out in the field. We're not going to score any long distance tries. We've really got to work for earning a repeat set deep in the nitty. Then that we're able to put on. Maybe an individual's able to create something, as has been the case so far. You actually could sense in that someone like Toei,
CEO, one of the dynamic ball runners,
we're gonna be able to produce, and I think that's what we're going to be relying on for the rest of this match today.
So Caleb Toei scoring bang on the 50th minute mark in this game. As looks like Massimo slipped over fielding the ball. Thankfully, holds on to it and will take the run himself. Eels working left now. Strong carry there. Yeah. Big man getting heavily involved. Flat ball from the Eels. Gets them over the advantage line there. Touches nowhere inside there as Caleb Toei has another carry. Great footwork at the line as he splits the front line of the defence, fending off the defender and linking up on his inside. I'm not sure if that's Massimo in support there, but the Eels on the front foot here. Chance for a 6 again there as the marker is not square but gets involved. He banged up after that run. Trainers out there. Eels looking to promote the ball as Jaden Yates gets an offload. Fields an offload, and takes on into the defensive line down the left edge. It is the last tackle. Eels right on the door here, knocking as hard as they can as they kick crossfield. But it's slightly misdirected and the Dragons will clean it up very easily. Caleb Toei is not in a good way here and the trainers have signalled time off as really, really bad news here for the Eels. One of their best players, one of their best young players.
He stayed down after the tackle. It didn't look good.
Yeah, he got dragged down from behind. Nothing malicious in the tackle. It's one of those football injuries. But pulled down from behind. Then I'm not sure if he's rolled up on his knee badly here, but he's sitting upright and trying to fight to his...
Some real punch to the Eels' middle. He's a difficult...
ability to bounce off a tackle, so destructive with the ball in hand. Are we taking any further play tonight as the trainers continue to attend to him? And as we said with Clayton as well, you obviously wish all these kids, whether it's the Dragons or the Eels, injuries and whatnot, but it's really unfortunate to see him down because he's having such a great second half.
Yeah, I think is he going to need assistance to get off? He's up to his feet, just for anyone listening.
Up to his feet and then testing out his legs, but there's no way he plays on. The question will be the severity of the injury in terms of the rest of his season, I dare say.
I know, the way he's bending is...
He wants to carry on.
Yeah, he wants to carry on.
But no. Bring him to the sideline. Yeah. As he walks off with a fairly obvious limp. And like we said, we hope it's nothing serious and just means he'll miss the rest of this game. And we'll get an update later in the week with Joey Grimer, 60s.
It's unfortunate for Caleb because he has been to few injuries this year. I think he had a thumb injury.
Correct. Midway through the preseason, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Because he was part of the Eels preseason, which was the thumb injury. So
it's a junior bet from Meeser as he comes back on to replace Toei. Eels will defend the Dragons coming off their line here if they don't give away a penalty or a 6 again.
I think the Dragons would be glad to see the back of Caleb Towie.
Definitely. He was turning the tide against them 100%. They were really struggling to contain him through the middle. As a good run from the left winger, I believe, from the Dragons there. No, it's not the winger, it's the centre, sorry. Danger. As to their kick now, it looks like Clements and Tarsi James involved defensively. Sorry, Jonte involved defensively. Midfield bomb is sent towards Massima. He shapes his body nicely to shield the defence. Now, the Dragons are all offside here.
To scream out, get them on side, they're all in front of you.
They are about 3 or 4 metres offside here, but the referee is not looking to his left. And downfield, it looks like a good run from Jonte Junior Befameza will help in some capacity. We have 16 and a half minutes left in this contest as they work right to Tarsi James, who props off that rifle, beats the first defender, beats the second defender, nearly gets past.
Looking to pop it.
Get to the kick as Chappell cleaned up. Oh, has he lost that? No, he's held onto it. So
he's held it.
Chappell has driven it downfield, has been marked about 20 metres out from line. It looks like the Dragons winger pick up and then nearly dropped the ball.
Mate, there is... Oh, as we see the
Dragons make a half break here. It's nearly 4 edge. And that's taken a kick.
That's unfortunate because I was a chance for the Eels to force a momentum. The game was just in a state, could have been a momentum change as we see the Dragons.
That's great work from Komalafi. Backing up inside and cover defences, taking the intercept on an offload from the left edge back row. Blake going to be 3-on-1 at the final line there. And Komalafi showing some real football now there. They position himself between back rower and support players. Putting the Eels on the attack near halfway now as Massima is being decked and driven backwards. That could have been
now
6
that's
again.
6 again, surely.
Yeah, but referee says no, play the ball. Tarsi James getting another touch here.
That is ridiculous, mate. That something similar earlier in the half.
Well, Tarsi James contact on the neck there, nothing coming.
Yeah, again, that's 2 tackles in a row. Could have easily been a 6 again call.
Nice play from Jonte Jr.
They're still working him on the ground.
Right to Schneider, who's going to put up the midfield bomb. That looks too near the back by Trey Stewart, who then heads back near the back by Trey Stewart, who then heads back towards a post and is wrapped up. So the Eels looking to make a stand off and try and flip the field position with 14 minutes left.
I don't think we're being harsh on the calls there, mate.
Because the thing is, the Dragons are a quality team. They're playing some great attacking football, but geez, defensively this part. As we have a little bit of a break on the slow play the ball here. Good effort from the edge back row there to make 2 tackles consecutively. Dragons will kick early. It's a very, very, very good kick.
That's a 40-20.
Massimo tried his hardest to get on his bike there, but he has absolutely drilled that.
35 metres out, opposite side of the field.
Yeah, from the left-hand side of the field, the Dragons left, he has driven that to the far sideline. So
but again, taking full advantage of the breeze.
Yes, in a way
that is literally the angle that the breeze is blowing at.
In a way, the Eels weren't able to in the first half. So the Dragons on the attack now, chance to ice the game really, as they work from right to left, finding the halfback Louis, who dummies, steps and props off his left foot back towards the post, where he's tackled by Jonte Junior Befameza and Tarsi James. Continuing left for the Dragons, as they find their fullback Trey Stewart. Dummies like the halfback before him and is tackled in the front line. Looks like
Komalafi was looking for the intercept.
Yeah, Komalafi was for the trigger. Schneider involved in the tackle there. Going back to Louis, turns it back inside to number 17, Blake Barbudo, who was tackled, but he's gotten through and is held up eventually. So the ball's going to...
He's contact.
Comes...
Gone damn close to scoring.
Comes back out 10 metres. So a favourable result for the Eels in the end, but Louis, who shapes up and lofts the ball out to his right centre. Defenders coming back in field. He is eventually wrapped up to bring up the last. He will be wrapped up to bring up the last. Yeah. The Eels get the kick this way, and they're going to play to the left flat, playing to the numbers out wide. And I tell you what, it was the right option. Eels looking for that play to the block out behind. Caught short towards the post, and the Dragons going to seal this one for try right next to the up. Yes, sort of play, wasn't it? Playing to the prop on the short option there.
Yeah, and all through that set, unfortunately, the Eels had defenders falling off the ball carrier.
The first contact was not good enough that set, allowing the Dragons to repeat for that kick. Position for a kick that ended up being a pass, where they should have been probably about 15 metres off the goal line.
In all reality, shifting the ball wide as defenders were falling off the tackles, a more direct approach, as it turned out to be, was the best approach for them to get the try. Yep. It was a really disappointing period of play there for the Eels because, as I said, they had the opportunity to shift the momentum. There was just that sense that it was there for the taking, and with that conversion, 26, the Eels 12, with just
minutes?
over 10 minutes of play remaining by the time this kickoff is taken.
So Eels will need to score thrice in 11 minutes of play. So possible, but not probable. That's probably the way I put it.
You would have to have a remarkable shift in momentum and a complete collapse from the Dragons for them to fall down at this stage.
Jaden Yates.
Certainly with the breeze behind their backs, I can't see them doing anything other than playing the rest of the game down the Eels' half.
Pretty fair assumption, I think, their 60s as the Dragons take the kickoff comfortably by Jaden Yates. Caught about 10 metres out centre field. Slow play the ball means the Dragons will work it to their right, but it's a strong carry, to be honest, on the second. Eels now retreating defensively, allowing for the dummy half to jump out and link up with a link runner. And as the Dragons continue to roll downfield, the referee wants no part of a 6 again after a slow play of the ball. Jonte Jr. Betham-Meza tangled up with the ball carrier there, but not to any sort of infringement level the referee deems. Dragons do slow down a bit this set now as they get close to the halfway. Eels marking up better with Ollie Clements making a tackle. Well, he was involved in the tackle before falling off. Looks like Brock Parker and Atasi James making the tackle to bring out the last. Dragons will play to the left side. Stabbing a fairly shallow kick. This is going to be an interesting one for Massman to tackle, but the favourable bounce means the kick chasers never really get a look in. He'll take the tackle about 12 metres off Parramatta's goal line. Komalafi jumps in the dummy half and has a scurry.
They managed to find that space between the defence line and the fullback, and we'd have to say that Massima was fortunate that the bounce was favourable.
Correct.
Because if it had have bounced in any other direction other than straight ahead, the Dragons were coming through in great numbers and were odds on.
It wasn't quite a chip kick. It wasn't quite a clearing kick. It was like a no-man's land kick, quite intentionally executed by Louis for the Dragons. And the Eels get away with it, but they're really struggling this set. Brock Parker off the bench, getting into the defensive line. Looks like Kyle Schneider might be banged up there in back play.
They've picked up a total of 10 metres in the 5 tackles before this kick.
Yates hoops it downfield, but it's taken on the full by the fullback Trey Stewart, who has a great kick return and will take play back in the Parramatta's half on tackle 1. Eels, really struggling here. And is that Kyle Schneider? I think it is, mate. Kyle, time off here. He's gotten to his feet, but he's hunched over. Playing to their right, finding Komalafi at first receiver, who will just run into the defensive line, carrying defenders again. One of the shining lights today for the Eels, despite that one defensive blemish, 60s.
The defensive line was in front of the referee. There wasn't a single player behind him. Look, they've had great line speed all game, the Dragons. Enthusiastic defence. They've managed to nullify anything that the Eels have thrown at them.
Not unlike the Dragons in the NRL for the Eels. Certainly exploiting the referee's willingness to call 6 agains and offsides, as both Clements, Tarsi James and Jonte Jr. Betham-Meza all get the Eels going into the Dragons' half. Parra will play right, the Kyle Schneider at first receiver. Cut out pass to Loizu at centre. Loizu flicks a nice little offload to Komalafi, who flicks an offload back to another runner in support. Eels have one tackle to spare here. And we'll play to their left, Yates to Schneider, cut out pass to Chappell, who kicks ahead, but it's caught in the front line of some great set of hands there from the Dragons. I think that might be the right edge back rower, Shalom Afo'u, or perhaps, it would be Shalom, I believe, who took that catch. So 6.5 minutes left here to play for the Eels. Dragons ahead 26-12. All hopes of a comeback pretty much extinguished, not distinguished.
Mate,
at this point, 60s.
Full marks to the crowd who've remained here, that with 6 minutes to go in freezing conditions, nobody's left the ground as yet, and it looks a foregone conclusion what the result is. So people staying to the end. Great to see.
As Jonte Jr. Betham-Meza makes the tackle. That's a forward. Yeah. Come on.
You could probably see we're at the point now where you can only laugh.
That was a handoff from the dummy half to a prop forward that went about 2.5 metres forward. So as the Dragons do kick ahead, Massima tidying up at the back. He's trapped 12 metres off his own goal line. Kyle Schneider jumping in the dummy half, finding Matthew Komalafi, getting involved again for his umpteenth hit up today. And the big man heavily involved for the Eels. Limited attacking opportunities, to be honest, but he's worked so hard at the start sets. Fruin East Hope plays one wide. That might be Luke Bain out there again. It's hard to tell from this vantage point, as Fruin East Hope then jumps out of dummy half for a strong gain. Thinking about offloading there, but the Dragons wrap him up, meaning that he can't find... So that's got to be a 6 again, sir. Come on. No? Okay. East Hope
You
dragged.
can hear there's a bit of a few disgruntled
Chappell
supporters
looking
here.
for a 40-20, and he might have it. That is a hell of a kick. So he's taking that from about
It is a
half a metre
40-20,
inside the
mate.
40-20, and he is, with limited angle to work with, has just driven that in. So Eels with 4 minutes 50 seconds to play, chance to at least narrow the margin, add a bit of respectability to the scoreboard here.
Is that Tarzi's just come off the field, mate?
Yeah, Tarzi off here. Looks like Luke Bain back on, so I got my numbers mixed up before. As that is Brock Parker, I believe, for the Parramatta Eels, spinning his way to the 1 metre line for the blue and gold, playing right now to Schneider, who digs into the line and finds Massimo sweeping through. As I weave around people to see what's happening. Yeah, they find a forward pass for Parramatta. There you go. So Jaden Yates playing the Samuel Loiser on the crash pass, and they managed to find the forward pass there. But
that will do me. That will do me.
Not
I have
like
nothing more to say.
Not to be too biased as the admittedly hometown commentators here, but the referee has certainly missed his share of forward passes against the Dragons and pinned the Eels for probably was a forward pass there. But if you're going to let one team play, let both teams play. Damn it!
Oh, I'm not going to dispute that particular call because we're at the other end of the field. It is just that to suddenly see a forward pass call made after some of the passes that we've seen today. Now, we're not meaning this as a referee bash in any way, because just as the players in this grade are learning, so too are the referees. So anyway, we've got the Dragons in possession, coming off from their line now.
They break left from the scrum, making some good metres there to get it out to about 20 metres off their line. Eels set up defensively as the Dragons work it to their right. Slow play the ball as the Eels to gain advantage defensively. Looks like Luke Bain and Jonte Jr. involved defensively there. Dragons. Well, he's saying pressure on the neck there, so. Dragons looking for a quick tap, but there was a man in front of the mark, meaning that he can't go. So pressure on the neck, the penalty there. And we've got under 3 minutes left here, so the Eels going to have to hold on for a set or two here. Hopefully not concede any more points. As the Dragons find touch by way of their 5'8", Zach Herring. He kicks to his right, finding touch 10 metres in Parramatta's half. That's a good touch find, to be honest. Dragons tap and go. 30 metres out from Parramatta's line here. With a loaded left edge. They're deep and wide. Got options all sorts of ways into next week. Blake Dowell taking the hit up for the Red V. Centre field in front of the post, 20 metres out. Continuing with that loaded left edge. They're going to play that way. Finding Louis at first receiver. He dummies and goes himself, breaking the tackle, then looking to link up and dancing and dancing. He beats Jaden Yates and is then pulled down by the dummy half as he breaks to his right. Dragons working to their right now, finding the 5'8", who will fire a flat ball. That is a good pass. That one, I got no doubts, was legal. Finding his right centre, James Schiller, who breaks through a tackle, gets over and scores the absolute backbreaker, mate.
I think that pretty much sums up the game. It sums up the difference in class between the teams today. Certainly what the Dragons have delivered in offence has been far more than what the Eels have managed today. The quality of the pass, the line that was run, it was a well-worked play. They've deserved the try. They've deserved the win. We might have talked about moments where the Eels have been hard done by, but when all's said and done, when this final scoreline of either 30-12 or if he kicks the goal 32-12 is worked out, it's probably going to be a pretty fair indicator of the difference between the teams today.
It's definitely reflective of the contest, I feel like. The Dragons have been the better team by some margin. Eels, I suppose, caught it a little bit with a reshuffle and whatnot, which you can make some excuses for, but the Dragons just have outclassed them. Eels unable to play as that cohesive team unit like you've been constantly signalling towards 60s. As I thought they'd taken the shot at goal. It was just a moth flying towards the post from my viewpoint.
Yeah, as I said, it's not even a matter of. And by the way, I'm glad he's doing this because I want him to actually milk the clock down, because we're giving our wrap up right now up to full time. Because as soon as that referee, no, let it wind down, mate. There's 25 seconds. We don't need another kickoff. So as we were saying, I wouldn't even call the Eels attack clunky. I don't even think it's got to the point where where they've even tried to be expansive enough for it to be clunky. It just hasn't happened.
Oh, geez. 25 seconds left. So we're going to have to soldier through at least a couple of tackles here, as the Dragons prepare to take what will hopefully be their final shot.
Can I unplug the mic at this stage, mate?
No, you got to wait to that final whistle.
He's
and that's a great conversion attempt. Adds the extras, raises the flags. The Dragons are leading 32-12 with
and the clock started. They won't get to the kickoff.
A literal handful of seconds.
Don't kick off.
The Eels are racing to get to their kickoff here, but I dare say that they're just going to set up
6,
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Jaden Yates is going to. We are going to get a kickoff. Yates getting the ball on the way. It's a short kickoff. Dragons will field it as Komalafi makes a tackle, brings it into proceedings in a game that the Dragons have probably dominated, I'd say, for lack of a better word, from start to finish. And at full time, the Red V, the St. George Illawarra Dragons, defeat the Parramatta Eels 32-12. Try scorers for St. George being Tyrell Sloan, Trey Stewart double, Alexander Lobb, and Blake Bartoto alongside their right centre. Sorry, hasn't been updated on the score sheet here, but the right centre, who had a very good game in James Schiller, also scoring. The Dragons heading 4 from 5 conversions. No, 3 from 5 conversions. I can't even do maths here. For the Eels, Ollie Clements and Caleb Towie scoring. Kyle Schneider perfect off the tee, 2 from 2. Unfortunately, blue and gold not good enough today, up against one of the better teams in the competition, I dare say, 60s.
Yeah, 20 points was the margin. I'd suggest they were a 20-point better team today. As I said, I think the score reflected the difference between the teams. Plenty of upside for the Dragons out of that. I think a bit to work on for the Eels.
That's fair. That's fair, yeah.
And I think the issues that the Eels had in their attack caused a lot of the problems today, because without being able to put pressure on the Dragons in attack, it's opened themselves up for the Dragons to be able to exert their own pressure at the other end of the field. The Eels weren't up to defending against their own errors. We saw the Dragons, once they got down there, their efficiency in the use of the ball was just so far superior to the Eels that we've ended up with this lopsided scoreline.
It is good to see Caleb Towie out there shaking hands with the opposition and with his teammates now. A bit of a limp there for Towie, but no obvious strapping or ice on the injury. So knock on wood, he'll be able to either take his place in the team next week, or next week's a bye, but the next round, or shortly after that. So got to randomly see what's happening with Clayton Falolo. But the Eels, will have to regather and rally themselves for round 11.
And, mate, I think it's fair to say that the Eels are capable of much better than today.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen their attack functioning far better than that. It basically was a non-event. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the attack was a non-event today. We've seen that that's not the case, that they offer far more in attack than what was on display today. Something just didn't quite work. What it is, well, that's for Coach Dean Feeney to work out and have the Eels come back bigger and better next week. Exactly,
mate. And on that note, I think we'll start wrapping things up. Eels going 1-1 on the day with the reserve grade team pinching victory from the Raiders in the last seconds. Michael Oldfield scoring in the left corner to get the win for the Eels in Reggie's, and obviously the result we just covered for you there in the Flegg. That'll be 60s and myself signing off after 3.5 hours on the microphone. So our voices are getting a little bit raw, and it is
we're frozen,
very cool out here at Ringrose Park. For those that did bear through all the connection issues, thank you for persevering. We are going to be better equipped next time at Ringrose Park, should there be another game here in the short term, to use a direct connection rather than Wi-Fi. And hopefully that means that we can have much less dropping out and much more